Washington Driver Guide from the Department of Licensing of Washington. This reading of the Driver Guide is intended to be a supplemental study aid to, and not a replacement for the Driver Guide published by the Department of Licensing of Washington State. You can download a copy of the Washington Driver Guide at dol.wa.gov. Message from the Governor. There's nothing quite like the freedom and convenience that come with driving, but operating a vehicle safely is a huge responsibility. The Department of Licensing's Driver Guide will help you understand the rules of the road and give you valuable information about safe and responsible driving. Remember, your success in earning a driver license and your safety out on our highways depend on your understanding of the information in this book. I encourage you to study carefully to help ensure a lifetime of safe driving. Christine Gregoire, Governor. Message from the Director. Welcome to Driving in Washington. I am pleased to present the Washington Driver Guide for current and future drivers on Washington roads. At the Department of Licensing, our mission is to work together for a safer Washington. One way we can accomplish this is through education and careful licensing of the nearly 5 million drivers sharing our streets and highways. Driving is a vital part of life, yet owning a vehicle and holding a driver license are privileges that require responsibility. This manual provides a summary of the laws, rules, and techniques that apply to every person who drives a vehicle in Washington State. Please remember to buckle up, obey speed laws, and never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Respect for traffic laws and respect for other drivers will keep us all safe on the road. For more information about our services, visit our website at www.dol.wa.gov. Safe driving. Alan Haight, Director. This guide should not be used as a basis for legal claims or actions. Traffic regulations in cities, towns, and counties may go beyond state laws but cannot conflict with them. If you are interested in specific laws relating to motor vehicle operation and driver licensing, refer to Title 46 RCW, Motor Vehicles. Please read it carefully. We welcome your written comments or suggestions. Your comments should be addressed to Driver Examining, Department of Licensing, P.O. Box 9030, Olympia, Washington 98507. Visit our website at www.dol.wa.gov. The Driver License. You must have a valid driver license to legally operate a motor vehicle, motorcycle, moped, or motor-driven cycle on public roadways in Washington State. Washington residents. To legally operate a vehicle on public roadways, Washington residents must get a Washington State driver license. You are a resident if you do any of the following: register to vote in this state, receive payments, financial aid, or other public welfare benefits from the state or a local government, get any state license at the resident rate, pay in-state tuition fees as a student, intend to live in this state for more than 6 months in any 1 year. New residents. You must get a Washington State driver license within 30 days of becoming a resident. You may not need to take the knowledge test or the driving test if your out-of-state license is valid when you apply for a Washington license. If you are under 18, you must show us proof that you have completed a driver training course meeting our standards before we will issue a Washington Intermediate driver license. Visit www.dol.wa.gov for more information about our driver training requirements. Non-residents and visitors. If you are a non-resident or short-term visitor, you can operate a motor vehicle in this state if you have a valid driver license from your home state, province, territory, or country, and you are at least 16 years old. This applies to members of the armed forces on active duty or members of a foreign military on temporary duty with the armed forces, as well as their spouses and children. students who are here to further their education and who are considered non-residents for tuition purposes, employees of companies licensed to do business in Washington State who are here for a short time to receive or give job instruction, foreign tourists, teachers, or business people who are here for up to 1 year. Types of driver licenses. Instruction permit. This permit allows you to operate a motor vehicle within Washington State while you are being supervised by a licensed driver with at least 5 years of licensed driving experience. The licensed driver must sit in the right front passenger seat. A Washington instruction permit might not be valid in another state. Intermediate driver license. If you are 16 or 17 and meet the requirements, we will issue you an intermediate license with restrictions meant to ease you into your responsibilities as a driver. Basic driver license. This allows you to operate a motor vehicle on public roadways. Your license is valid for 5 years from the date of your last birthday. If you are 16 or 17 years old, you will first receive an intermediate driver license. Enhanced driver license. We offer an enhanced driver license as an acceptable alternative to a passport for re-entry into the U.S. at land and sea border crossings. For more information, visit our website or see the enhanced driver license and ID card brochure available at any of our offices. Motorcycle or trike instruction permit and endorsement. These allow you to operate a motorcycle or a 3-wheeled motorcycle-based vehicle on public roadways. For more information, see the Motorcycle Operator Manual or the Sidecar Trike Operator Manual, available on our website or at any driver licensing office. Commercial Driver Instruction Permit, CDIP, and Commercial Driver License, CDL. These allow you to operate a commercial vehicle on public roadways. For more information, see the Commercial Driver Guide available on our website or any driver licensing office. Getting your license. You can get an instruction permit or a driver license at our driver licensing offices. We have more than 60 locations statewide. Some offices don't offer testing, so before you come in, be sure the one you plan to visit offers the testing you need. Visit our website or check the government section of the telephone book under Licensing, Department of, for the office nearest you. To get an instruction permit, you must be at least 15.5 years old, pass the knowledge test and the vision and medical screenings, pay a $20 permit fee. If you are under 18, you must also bring your parent or guardian with you when you apply. He or she must show proof of identity and proof of relationship to you and must also sign a parental authorization affidavit. When last names are different, we require more documents proving relationship. The permit is valid for 1 year and you can only renew it once. If you are enrolled in an approved driver training course, you can get an instruction permit at age 15. If you bring your instruction permit application to prove you are enrolled in an approved course, we will not require you to take the knowledge test before we issue your permit. You will be required to take the knowledge test as part of your license test. To get an intermediate driver license, you must be at least 16 years old. Show us proof that you have passed an approved driver training course with at least 30 hours of classroom and 6 hours of behind-the-wheel instruction. Get the consent of a parent or guardian. Pass the medical and vision screenings, the knowledge test, and the driving test. Have had an instruction permit for at least 6 months. Show us that a parent or guardian certifies you have had at least 50 hours of driving experience, including 10 hours at night, which you have gained while a licensed driver with at least 5 years of licensed driving experience supervised you. have not been issued a traffic ticket and must not have any traffic tickets pending when you apply for your license, not have been convicted of and must not have been found to have committed a traffic violation within the last 6 months before the day you apply for your license, have not been convicted of and must not have been found to have committed an offense involving the use of alcohol or drugs while you had an instruction permit. Provide your social security number, which we will verify when you apply for a driver license, 42 USC 405 and 666 A13 RCW 26.23.150. If you have not been issued a number, you can sign a social security number declaration. An intermediate license comes with these driving restrictions. You cannot drive between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. unless you are with a parent, a guardian, or a licensed driver who is at least 25 years old. For the first 6 months, no passenger under the age of 20 may be with you while you drive unless that person is a member of your immediate family. For the remaining time, no more than 3 passengers under the age of 20 may be with you while you drive unless they are members of your immediate family. There are tough penalties in the first year. First violation. The passenger and nighttime restrictions are extended until age 18, and a warning letter is sent to you and your parent or guardian if you receive a ticket for violating the restrictions or any other traffic law, or you are involved in an accident where you receive a ticket. You are determined to have caused the accident. No one involved in the accident receives a ticket. No one was found to cause the accident. Only your car was involved in the accident. Second violation. You are suspended for 6 months or until age 18 if that comes first. Third violation. You are suspended until age 18. You and your parent or guardian are notified before any suspension action is taken. On your 18th birthday, your license will become a basic driver license without the intermediate license restrictions. You do not need to visit a driver licensing office to make this change. To get a basic driver license, you must be at least 18 years old, show us acceptable proof of identity and age, provide your social security number, which we will verify when you apply for a driver license, 42 USC 405 and 666 A13 RCW 26.23.150. If you have not been issued a number, you can sign a social security number declaration. Show us acceptable proof of Washington State residence. Pay a $20 knowledge test fee. This fee is good for 90 days and 1 attempt. If you pass, you will get 1 driving test attempt at no extra charge. Pass the medical and vision screenings, the knowledge test, and the driving test. Turn in any other driver licenses. Not have a currently suspended, revoked, or canceled driving privilege. Pay a $25 licensing fee. You can get a first driver license without showing complete proof of identity, though you must show proof of your name of record and date of birth. The license will be marked not valid for identification until you show us complete proof of identity. Proof of identity and proof of residence. Our identification requirements can be complex. Please refer to our Identification and Residence Requirements brochure for examples of acceptable documents that provide proof of identity and proof of Washington State residence. This information is also available on our website at www.dol.wa.gov. Vision and medical screenings. We will check your vision before we issue a license. If our check shows your vision meets the licensing standard only when you use corrective lenses, your license may get a corrective lenses restriction. We will also ask you whether you have a mental or physical condition or are taking any medication which could impair your ability to operate a motor vehicle. If so, we may require you to be examined by an eye care or medical specialist before we proceed with your application. The Knowledge Test. We use the knowledge test to be sure you understand road signs, traffic laws, and safe driving practices before you drive on the roadways. Everything you must learn to pass the test is in this guide. You will take your test at a driver licensing office on a simple computer unless you need special accommodation. It is a multiple-choice test with 25 questions, and you must correctly answer 20 of them to pass the test. A passing test score is good for 2 years. You do not need to make an appointment for the knowledge test, but you must start it at least 30 minutes before the office closes. The Driving Test. We use the driving test to be sure you are able to legally and safely drive on the roadways. We will ride with you to ensure that the vehicle is safe to drive, that you maintain control of the vehicle, and that you obey the rules of the road. We will not try to confuse or trick you, and will not ask you to do anything that is illegal. You may ask questions before the test begins. Once the test has begun, any needless talking will only hamper it. We will score your driving throughout the test. To take the driving test, you must first pass the knowledge test, bring a vehicle. It must be legally licensed and registered. It must not have defective parts. We will check all brakes, brake lights, turn signals, tires, seat belts, and windshield wipers before the test begins. Present acceptable proof of liability insurance, such as an insurance company card or policy showing the policyholder's name or the vehicle's description and the dates of insurance coverage. Only you, our staff, a service animal, and an interpreter for the deaf or hard of hearing are allowed in the vehicle during the test. Foreign language interpreters, parents, children, or pets cannot be in the vehicle. During the test, you must show correct arm and hand signals when we ask you to do so. You may use automatic signals during the test. You must use hand signals when signal lights cannot be seen by other drivers. Signal even when no one is nearby to see it. Turn your head and look to the rear for traffic and pedestrians when you are backing your vehicle. If you cannot see through the rear window, use the side windows and mirrors. Do not back the vehicle until you can do so safely. Stop completely at all stop signs and signals. Do not stop in crosswalks or beyond stop lines. If you are applying for your first Washington driver license, you may make an appointment for the driving test only after you have passed the knowledge test and provided proof of residency. You should arrive 15 minutes early for your driving test. Let us know you've arrived if we have requested that you do so. If you do not pass the test, you must normally wait at least 1 week before you retest, which gives you time to practice before you try again. Your photograph. Your new driver license, instruction permit, or ID card will include a photo showing a full front view of your face. Before we take your photo, we will ask you to remove anything that covers your face or head, like a hat or sunglasses. If you choose not to remove it, your license will be marked not valid for identification. We will make exceptions for medical and religious reasons. Driver license renewal. Your renewed license is valid for 5 years and will expire on your birthday. You may renew in person up to 1 year before it expires, or online or by mail 60 days before or 30 days after it expires. We will mail you a courtesy reminder notice 6 weeks before your license expires. The notice will inform you if you may renew online, by mail, or if you must instead apply in person at a driver licensing office. If you apply in person, bring your current license or other proof of identity. If you wear contact lenses or glasses, bring them with you for the vision test. We may also require you to take the knowledge and driving tests. In addition to the $25 license renewal fee, you will pay additional fees if you have motorcycle or CDL endorsements. If you renew your license more than 60 days after it has expired, you must pay a $10 late fee plus the $25 renewal fee. Replacement license. If your license is lost, stolen, destroyed, or illegible, you may apply for a replacement at any driver licensing office. You will need to prove your identity and pay a $15 fee. Visit our website for information about identity theft and fraud. If you are under the age of 18, your parent or guardian must sign to give permission for the duplicate license. When last names are different, we will ask for more documents proving relationship. Change of address or name. You must notify the department within 10 days of an address change, a legal name change. A name change may only be made in person, and you must bring documents proving identity in your new name. Address changes are free if you mail to us your full name, date of birth, driver license number, and the new residential address. To get a document issued with your new address or name, you must come to a driver licensing office and pay $10. We can also add a permanent mailing address to your record along with the required residential address. Your driver license, identification card, or instruction permit will be sent to your mailing address if one is provided. Keeping your driver license. To keep your driver license, you must drive safely at all times. You can lose your license for driving or being in physical control of a vehicle while you are under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Refusing to allow a police officer to test you for alcohol or drugs. Leaving the scene of a collision in which you were involved without first identifying yourself. Giving false information when you apply for a license. Being involved in a collision when you are uninsured. We may suspend the license of an uninsured driver involved in a collision for up to 3 years. Also, failing to settle a civil court judgment resulting from the collision can result in a suspension for 13 or more years. Failing to appear for a re-examination that we have requested. Using a motor vehicle to commit a felony or for causing the death of someone in a motor vehicle collision. Having too many moving traffic violations on your driving record, habitual traffic offender. Reckless driving or reckless endangerment of a roadway worker. Racing, vehicular assault, or vehicular homicide. Trying to elude a police vehicle. Leaving a gas station without paying for fuel you have pumped. Failing to appear or failing to respond to a traffic citation or notice of infraction. Driving while your license is suspended, revoked, canceled, or denied. Carrying a license that shows a false name, incorrect information, or fraudulent alterations. Lending a license to another person or for using another person's license. Using a driver license issued by another state while your driving privilege in Washington is suspended. Receiving 2 or more traffic offenses while driving under the permission of an intermediate license. Making, selling, or delivering a forged, false, counterfeit, altered, blank, or unlawfully issued driver license or identification card. Failure to appear. A failure to appear, FTA, notice is the result of failing to appear for, comply with, respond to, or pay a traffic infraction or criminal citation. If you get a ticket, instructions to help you comply will be printed on the back. If you don't comply within 15 days, the court notifies us and we will mail you a notice of suspension. You then have 45 days to comply or we will suspend your driving privilege. You also have the right to request an administrative review. If you comply within the 45 days, the suspension will not go into effect. If you do not comply, we will suspend your driving privilege and you must not drive. You may be arrested and your vehicle may be impounded if you are caught driving while your privilege is suspended. An FTA for a violation committed on or after July 1st, 2005 will prevent us from issuing any license. We will charge $75 plus other licensing fees to reissue your license after a suspension. After an alcohol-related suspension, we will charge $150 plus other licensing fees to reissue your license. Sex offender registration. State law requires the Department of Corrections to notify the county sheriff of any person residing in the state who has been found to have committed or has been convicted of any sex offense. These persons must register with the sheriff of the county in which they reside. Failure to register may result in criminal prosecution. Contact your county sheriff for information. Other licensing services. Identification cards. We issue photo identification cards to non-drivers for $20. You must show the same identification that we require for a driver license. Voter registration. You may register to vote at any driver licensing office if you meet the following requirements. You must be a United States citizen whose civil rights are not currently revoked, a Washington State resident, at least 18. If you have moved, you may change your voter registration at the same time you give us a change of address. Organ donor program. If you wish to be an organ donor, please tell us. The donor symbol will appear on your license and your information will be given to the donor registry to ensure your wishes will be carried out. For more information, call Life Center Northwest at 1-877-275-5269 or visit the registry website at www.donatelifetoday.com. Copies of your driving record. We keep a record of license applications, collisions, traffic infractions, convictions for motor vehicle violations, collision involvement, and failure to appear notices for every driver in the state. For a $10 fee, we are allowed to provide a copy of your record to you, an insurance carrier, an employer, and some volunteer organizations where you provide transportation. Before you drive. Your safety and that of the public can depend on what you do before driving, including adjusting the seat and mirrors, using safety belts, checking your vehicle, locking your doors, maintaining a clear view, and securing items in and on the vehicle. Insurance required. If you operate a motor vehicle registered in this state, you must have liability insurance and carry an identification card proving you have such insurance. Drivers of government vehicles, motorcycles, and common or contract carrier vehicles are exempt from this insurance requirement. You must have an automobile liability policy or bond from a state-approved insurance or surety company that provides the following: $25,000 or more payable for the bodily injury or death of one person in a collision in which only one person was injured or killed. $50,000 or more payable for the bodily injury or death of two or more persons in any one collision, and $10,000 or more payable for injury to or destruction of property of others in any one collision. Check the vehicle. Your safety starts with the vehicle you are driving. It is the duty of drivers to make certain that the vehicles that they drive are safe to operate. A vehicle that is not working properly is unsafe and costs more to run than one that is maintained. It can break down or cause a collision. If a vehicle is not working well, you might not be able to get out of an emergency situation. A vehicle in good working order can give you an extra safety margin when you need it most. You should follow the recommendations in your vehicle owner's manual for routine maintenance. Some you can do yourself and some must be done by a qualified mechanic. A few simple checks will prevent trouble on the road. Braking system. Only your brakes can stop your vehicle. It is very dangerous if they are not working properly. If they do not seem to be working properly, are making a lot of noise, smell funny, or the brake pedal goes to the floor, have a mechanic check them. Lights. Make sure that turn signals, brake lights, tail lights, and headlights are operating properly. These should be checked from the outside of the vehicle. Brake lights tell other road users that you are stopping, and turn signals tell them you are turning. Passenger trucks, cars, vans, and sport utility vehicles, SUVs, manufactured after 1993 must have a third rear brake light mounted high in the center of the vehicle. An out-of-line headlight can shine where it does not help you and may blind other drivers. If you are having trouble seeing at night, or if other drivers are constantly flashing their headlights at you, have a mechanic check the headlights. Windshield and wipers. Damaged glass can easily break in a minor collision or when something hits the windshield. Have a damaged windshield repaired or replaced. Windshield wipers keep the rain and snow off the windshield. Some vehicles also have wipers for rear windows and headlights. Make sure all wipers are in good operating condition. If the blades are not clearing water well, replace them. Tires. Worn or bald tires can increase your stopping distance and make turning more difficult when the road is wet. Unbalanced tires and low pressure cause faster tire wear, reduce fuel economy, and make the vehicle harder to steer and stop. If the vehicle bounces, the steering wheel shakes, or the vehicle pulls to one side, have a mechanic check it. Worn tires can cause hydroplaning and increase the chance of a flat tire. Check the tread with a penny. Stick the penny into the tread head first. If the tread does not come at least to Lincoln's head, 2/32 of an inch, the tire is illegal and unsafe and you need to replace it. Check tire air pressure with an air pressure gauge when the tires are cold. Check the vehicle owner's manual for the recommended pressure. Steering system. If the steering is not working properly, it is difficult to control the direction you want to go. If the vehicle is hard to turn, or does not turn when the steering wheel is first turned, have the steering checked by a mechanic. Never turn your vehicle's ignition to the lock position while it is in motion. This will cause the steering to lock if you try to turn the steering wheel, and you will lose control of your vehicle. Suspension system. Your suspension helps you control your vehicle and provides a comfortable ride over varying road surfaces. If the vehicle continues to bounce after a bump or a stop, or is hard to control, you may need new shocks or suspension parts. Have a mechanic check it. Exhaust system. The exhaust system helps reduce the noise from the engine, helps cool the hot gases coming from the engine, and moves these gases to the rear of the vehicle. Gases from a leaky exhaust can cause death inside a vehicle in a very short time. Never run the motor in a closed garage. If you sit in a vehicle with a motor running for a long time, open a window. Some exhaust leaks are easily heard, but many are not. This is why it is important to have the exhaust system checked periodically. Engine. A poorly running engine may lose power that is needed for normal driving and emergencies, may not start, gets poor fuel economy, pollutes the air, and could stall when you're on a road, causing you and traffic a problem. Follow the procedures recommended in the owner's manual for maintenance. Horn. The horn may not seem like it is important for safety, but as a warning device it could save your life. Only use your horn as a warning to others. Loose objects. Unsecured objects, such as groceries or luggage, can become dangerous in a collision or sudden stop. Put loose objects into the vehicle's storage compartments or trunk. If this isn't possible, secure the objects in place. Make sure there are no objects at your feet or under your seats that could roll under the pedals or distract you while you drive. Litter. The fines for littering are severe. Vehicle drivers and passengers should always properly dispose of all waste paper, glass, plastic, and potentially dangerous materials. Secure your load. You must secure any load you transport in your vehicle or trailer before driving on public roadways in Washington State. Secure both the load and any items used to cover or secure it so they won't become loose and hazardous to other road users. By taking the time to make sure your load is properly secure, you can prevent harm to others and save yourself a costly fine. To secure the load in your vehicle or trailer, tie it down with rope, netting, or straps. Tie large objects directly to your vehicle or trailer. Consider covering the entire load with a sturdy tarp or net. Don't overload your vehicle or trailer. Always double-check to make sure it's secure. Local laws may be more restrictive, so make sure you know the rules for your area. Clean glass surfaces. It is important that you are able to see clearly through the windows, windshield, and mirrors. Here are some things you can do to help. Keep the windshield clean. Bright sun or headlights on a dirty windshield make it hard to see. Carry liquid cleaner and a paper or cloth towel so you can clean your windshield whenever it is necessary. Keep your window washer bottle full. Use antifreeze wash in areas where the temperature could fall below freezing. Keep the inside of your windows clean, especially if anyone has been smoking in the vehicle. Smoking causes a film to build up on the inside glass. Clear snow, ice, or frost from all windows before driving. Do not hang things from your mirror or clutter the windshield with decals. They could block your view. Keep the headlights, backup, brake, and tail lights clean. Dirt on the lenses can reduce the light by 50%. Adjust seat and mirrors. You should always check and adjust your seat and mirrors before you start to drive. You may not drive with more than 3 people in the front seat if it blocks your view or interferes with the control of your vehicle. You should have clear vision in all directions, all controls should be within reach, and at least 1/3 of the steering wheel should be between your hands. Adjust your seat so that you are high enough to clearly see the road. If necessary, use a seat cushion. Do not move the seat so far forward that you cannot easily steer. You should sit so the airbag will hit you in the chest if there is a collision. Also, sit so you can touch the floor below the brake pedal with your feet. Adjust your rear view mirror and side mirrors. You should be able to see out the back window with the rear view mirror. Adjust the side mirrors so that you can see a small amount of the side of your vehicle when you lean forward slightly. This will help you see the traffic behind you. If you have a day-night mirror, make sure it is set for the time of day you are driving. Head restraints are designed to prevent whiplash if you are hit from behind. They should be adjusted so the head restraint contacts the back of your head. Use seat belts and child restraints. In Washington State, it is illegal to drive or be a passenger without wearing seat belts. Always fasten your seatbelt and make sure all passengers are properly using seat belts, child car seats, or booster seats. Also remember to lock the vehicle's doors. You may have to pay a fine if you or your passengers under 16 are not wearing a seatbelt or are not secured in a child car seat or booster seat. Passengers over 16 are responsible for wearing their belt and any fine. The law also requires that any vehicle manufactured after January 1964 and registered in Washington State must have front lap-type seat belts. Passenger vehicles manufactured after January 1968 and trucks and multipurpose passenger vehicles manufactured after January 1972 must have lap and shoulder belts or a lap belt at all seating positions. Vans, motorhomes, and vehicles carrying chassis-mounted campers manufactured after January 1976 must have seatbelts at all seating positions. If your vehicle has a two-part seatbelt system, be sure to wear and properly adjust them both with the shoulder belt over your shoulder and not under your arm or behind your back. The lap belt should be across the hips, not the abdomen. Wearing either part alone greatly reduces your protection. If you have an automatic shoulder belt, be sure to buckle your lap belt as well. Otherwise, in a collision, you could slide out of the belt and be hurt or killed. In addition to protecting you from injury as a driver, seat belts help you keep control of the vehicle. If you are struck from the side or make a quick turn, the force could push you sideways. You cannot steer the vehicle if you are not behind the wheel. Seat belts must be worn even if the vehicle is equipped with airbags. While airbags are good protection against hitting the steering wheel, dashboard, or windshield, they do not protect you if you are hit from the side or rear or if the vehicle rolls over. Also, an airbag will not keep you behind the wheel in these situations. Children under the age of 13 must be secured in the back seat where it is practical to do so. Children under the age of 8 who are less than 4 feet 9 inches tall must be properly secured in an appropriate child restraint system. For more information about child passenger safety, call 1-800-BUCKLE-UP. That is 1-800-282-5587. Studies have shown that if you are in a collision while using seatbelts, your chances of being hurt or killed are greatly reduced. Rules of the road. There are traffic rules that say where, when, and how fast you can drive. These rules help keep traffic moving safely. Rules of the road include traffic control devices, right-of-way, and parking rules. Traffic control devices. Traffic control devices include traffic signals, signs, pavement markings, and roundabouts. Traffic control also can be provided by law enforcement, highway construction or maintenance personnel, or school crossing guards. You must obey directions from these persons. If a traffic signal is not working, come to a complete stop, then yield to traffic as if it were a four-way stop. Proceed only when you see it is safe, or when a police officer, firefighter, or traffic control person directs you. Traffic signals. Traffic signals are lights that tell you when or where to stop and go. A green light means you can go if it is safe. A yellow light means caution, and a red light means stop. Traffic lights are usually at intersections and are red, yellow, and green from top to bottom or left to right. There are some intersections and other locations where there are single green, yellow, or red lights. A green traffic light means you can go through the intersection. You must yield to emergency vehicles and others as required by law. If you are stopped and the light turns green, you must allow crossing traffic to clear the intersection before you go ahead. If you are turning left, you may turn, but only when safe to do so. Oncoming traffic has the right of way. Be alert for signs that prohibit left turns. A green arrow means you can safely turn in the direction of the arrow. There should be no oncoming or crossing traffic while the arrow is green. When turning right or left, watch for pedestrians crossing in front of your vehicle. You must stop for pedestrians if they are in or within one lane of your half of the roadway. A steady yellow traffic light means the traffic light is about to change red. You must stop if it is safe to do so. If you are in the intersection when the yellow light comes on, do not stop but continue through the intersection. A flashing yellow traffic light means slow down and proceed with caution. A yellow arrow means that the protection of a green arrow is ending, and if you are turning in the direction of the arrow, you should prepare to stop and give the right of way to oncoming traffic before turning. A flashing yellow arrow means left turns are allowed, but you must yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. A steady red traffic light means stop. You must wait until the traffic light turns green and there is no crossing traffic before you may go ahead. If you are turning right, you may turn after coming to a full stop if it is safe and if there is no sign prohibiting the turn on a red light. You may also turn left onto a one-way street with traffic moving left after coming to a full stop if there is no sign prohibiting turns on a red light. Be careful of pedestrians crossing in front of your vehicle. A flashing red traffic light means the same as a stop sign. You must come to a full stop and then may proceed when it is safe to do so. A red arrow means you must stop and you cannot go in the direction of the arrow. You may proceed when the red arrow goes out and a green arrow or light comes on. If you are turning right, you may turn after coming to a full stop if it is safe and if there is no sign prohibiting the turn on a red arrow. You may also turn left onto a one-way street with traffic moving left after coming to a full stop if there is no sign prohibiting turns on a red arrow when it is safe to do so. Traffic signs. Traffic signs tell you about traffic rules, hazards, where you are, how to get where you are going, and where services are located. The shape and color of these signs show the type of information they provide. The inside cover of this guide shows the shape and color of common signs. Warning signs. These signs are usually yellow with black lettering or symbols, and most are diamond-shaped. These signs warn you to slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. They warn you of sharp curves, special situations, speed zones, or hazards ahead. Railroad crossing warning signs. Many railroad crossings have signs or signals to warn drivers to slow down and yield to trains. Never try to beat a train across the tracks. Never start to cross until the traffic clears ahead. Wait until there is room on the far side so you will not have to stop on the tracks. It is wise not to shift gears when crossing railroad tracks just in case you stall. Trains are large and may be moving faster than they look. Some common railroad crossing warning signs and signals are: a round yellow warning sign with an X symbol and black RR letters is placed along the road before you get to a railroad crossing. A white X-shaped sign or crossbuck with railroad crossing on it is located at the railroad crossing. This sign has the same meaning as a yield sign. You must yield to trains crossing the road. At some crossings, along with the crossbuck sign, you will see side-by-side red lights that will flash alternately when a train is approaching. When the lights are flashing, you must stop. At some crossings, there is also a crossing gate that will lower when a train is coming. Do not drive around the gate. Some crossings also have a bell or a horn that will sound. Do not cross until the bell or horn has stopped. Crossings with more than one train track will often post a sign that shows the number of tracks. These signs warn you that there is more than one track and there may be more than one train crossing. Not all crossings with more than one train track will have these signs, so it is important to check for more than one track before crossing. Slow-moving vehicle sign. A reflective orange triangle on the rear of a vehicle means it is traveling less than 25 miles per hour. You may see this decal on construction equipment and in rural areas on farm vehicles, horse-drawn wagons, or carriages. Work area signs. These construction, maintenance, or emergency operations signs are generally diamond or rectangle shaped and orange with black letters or symbols. They warn you that people are working on or near the roadway. These warnings include reduced speed, detour, slow-moving vehicles ahead, and poor or suddenly changing road surfaces. In work areas, traffic may be controlled by a person with a sign or flag. You must obey these persons. Motorists must yield to any highway construction personnel, vehicles with flashing yellow lights, or equipment inside a highway construction or maintenance work zone. Fines double for moving violations in construction areas when workers are present. Regulatory signs. These signs are square, rectangular, or have a special shape and are usually white, red, or black with black, red, white, or green letters or symbols. They give you information about rules for traffic direction, lane use, turning, speed, parking, and other special situations. Some regulatory signs have a red circle with a red slash over a symbol. These signs prohibit certain actions, such as no left turn, no right turn, no U-turn, etc. Common types of regulatory signs are speed limit signs. These signs indicate the maximum safe speed allowed or the minimum safe speed required. The maximum limit should be driven only in ideal driving conditions, and you must reduce your speed when conditions require it. For example, you should reduce your speed when the roadway is slippery, during rain, snow, or icy conditions, or when it is foggy and difficult to see clearly down the road. Some high-speed roads have minimum speed limits, and you are required to travel at least this fast so you are not a hazard to other drivers. If the minimum posted speed is too fast for you, use another road. Lane use control signs. These signs tell you where you can go or where you can turn and often use an arrow symbol. These signs can be located on the side of the road or hanging over the lane of travel. Sometimes arrows may be painted on the road as a supplement to the signs. No passing signs. These signs tell you where passing is not permitted. Passing areas are based on how far you can see ahead. They consider unseen hazards such as hills and curves, intersections, driveways, and other places a vehicle may enter the roadway. These signs, along with pavement markings, indicate where you can pass another vehicle, the beginning and ending of a passing zone, or where you may not pass. Where passing is permitted, you may do so only if it is safe. Be aware of road conditions and other vehicles. A triangular "No Passing Zone" sign can be used. These signs are yellow or orange and placed on the left side of the roadway. Stop sign. A stop sign has 8 sides and is red with white letters. You must come to a full stop at a marked stop line, but if none, before entering a marked crosswalk, or if none, at the point nearest the intersecting roadway where the driver has a view of approaching traffic. You must wait until crossing vehicles and pedestrians have cleared and pull forward only when it is safe. Yield sign. A yield sign is a downward pointing triangle. It is red and white with red letters. It means you must slow down and yield the right of way to traffic in the intersection you are crossing or roadway you are entering. Do not enter sign. A square sign with a white horizontal line inside a red ball means you cannot enter. You will see this sign at roadway openings that you should not enter, such as exit ramps where you would be going in the wrong direction, in crossovers on divided roadways, and at numerous locations on one-way streets. Disabled parking sign. A rectangular sign with a white background and green lettering, and the International Disabled Person symbol in white on a blue background marks special parking stalls at businesses and stores. You or your passenger must have and display a disabled person's parking placard or license plate to park in these stalls. There is a $250 fine for parking in stalls without displaying the required placard or plate and for blocking the access aisle next to a space reserved for physically disabled persons. Traction advisory signs. A rectangular sign with a white background and black letters. These signs tell you when chains are required. There is a $500 penalty for failing to use chains when required. Common types of guide signs are destination signs. These signs are square or rectangular shaped and are green or brown with white lettering. They show directions and distance to various locations such as cities, airports, or state lines, or to special areas such as national parks, historical areas, or museums. Service signs. These signs are square or rectangular shaped and are blue or brown with white letters or symbols. They show the location of various services such as rest areas, gas stations, campgrounds, or hospitals. Route number signs. The shape and color of route number signs indicate the type of roadway: interstate, U.S., state, city, or county road. When planning a trip, use a road map to determine your route. During the trip, follow the route signs to prevent you from getting lost. Pavement markings. Lines and symbols on the roadway divide lanes tell you when you may pass other vehicles or change lanes, which lanes to use for turns, where you must stop for signs or traffic signals, and define pedestrian walkways. Edge and lane lines. Solid lines along the side of the road show you where the edge of the road or lane is located. White lane markings. Solid white lines are used to mark both edges of two-way roads and the right edge of one-way roads. You should not drive to the right of the edge lane. A dashed white line between lanes of traffic means that you may cross it to change lanes if it is safe. A solid white line between lanes of traffic means that you should stay in your lane unless a special situation requires you to change lanes. Yellow lane markings. Solid yellow lines mark the left edge of one-way roads and separate traffic moving in opposite directions. A dashed yellow line between opposing lanes of traffic means that you may cross it to pass if it is safe to do so. Some passing zones have signs that tell you where passing is permitted and where you cannot pass. Where there is both a solid and a dashed yellow line between opposing lanes of traffic, you may not pass if the solid yellow line is on your side. If the dashed line is on your side, you are in the passing zone and may pass if it is safe. You must return to your side before the passing zone ends. Two solid yellow lines between lanes of traffic means neither side can pass. You may cross yellow lane markings, except medians, to turn left if it is safe. Medians. When a highway is divided into two or more roadways, it is illegal to drive within, over, or across the space. This separation can be an open space, a highway divider, or a median island. It can also be formed either by 18-inch solid yellow pavement markings or by yellow cross-hatchings between two solid yellow lines. Crosswalks and stop lines. When required to stop because of a sign or signal, you must stop before your vehicle reaches the stop line or crosswalk, if there is one. Crosswalks define the area where pedestrians may cross the roadway. You must yield to pedestrians in or about to enter a crosswalk. Some crosswalks may also have in-pavement lights that are activated by crossing pedestrians. You must yield when these lights are flashing. Not all crosswalks are marked. Be alert for pedestrians when crossing intersections or turning. Other traffic control devices. There are other traffic control devices used to discourage speeding and reduce collisions in residential areas. These devices have a variety of shapes. If you see speed bumps, curbing that narrows the roadway, or circular islands in intersections, slow down and keep to the right unless otherwise posted. Roundabouts. A roundabout is an intersection control device with traffic circulating around an island. Approaching vehicles must yield to the traffic in the circle. Always yield to pedestrians and bicyclists who are legally crossing the road. Inside the circle, always drive around the circle to the right. How to drive in a roundabout. 1. Slow down as you approach the intersection. Roundabouts are designed for speeds of 15 to 20 miles per hour. 2. Enter the roundabout when there is a gap in traffic. Once inside, do not stop. Follow the directions on signs or pavement markings about which lane to use. 3. You may exit at any street or continue around if you miss your exit. Reversible lanes. Some travel lanes are designed to carry traffic in one direction at certain times and in the opposite direction at other times. These lanes are usually marked by double-dashed yellow lines. Before you start driving in them, check to see which lanes you can use at that time. There may be signs posted by the side of the road or overhead. Special lights are often used. A green arrow means that you can use the lane beneath it. A red X means you cannot. A flashing yellow X means the lane is only for turning. A steady yellow X means that the use of the lane is changing and you should move out of it as soon as it is safe to do so. Reserved lanes. On various roadways, one or more lanes may be reserved for special vehicles. Reserved lanes are marked by signs stating that the lane is reserved for special use. These lanes often have a white diamond posted at the side of the road or painted on the road's surface. Transit, or bus, means the lane is for bus use only. Bicycle means the lane is reserved for bicycles. HOV stands for High Occupancy Vehicles and indicates lanes reserved for vehicles with more than one person in them. Signs say how many people must be in the vehicle as well as the days and hours to which it applies. For example, HOV3 means that there must be at least 3 people in the vehicle. Two-way left turn lanes. These shared center lanes are reserved for vehicles making left turns in either direction from or into the roadway, or U-turns when they are permitted. These lanes cannot be used for passing and cannot be used for travel further than 300 feet. On the pavement, left turn arrows for traffic in one direction alternate with left turn arrows for traffic coming from the other direction. These lanes are marked on each side by a solid yellow and dashed yellow lines. Enter the lane only when it is safe to do so. General rules. General driving. If you back your vehicle, look carefully and move slowly. Drivers do not expect a vehicle to be backing towards them and may not realize it until it is too late. If you miss your turn or exit, do not back up, but go on to the next turn or exit where you can safely turn around. It is illegal to back up on a shoulder or a freeway. Do not stop in travel lanes for any reason: confusion, breakdown, letting out a passenger. Keep moving until you can safely pull off the road. In Washington State, it is illegal to give or to seek a ride on any limited access roadway, such as a freeway, unless otherwise posted. No person seeking a ride may stand on or along a public highway or street where a vehicle cannot safely stop off the main traveled portion of the roadway. On a road with 2 lanes traveling in opposite directions, you must drive on the right side of the road except when you are legally passing another vehicle. On a road with 2 or more lanes traveling in the same direction, stay in the right lane except to pass. On a road with 3 or more lanes traveling in the same direction, if there is a lot of entering or exiting traffic, use the center travel lane. Unless directed to do so by officials or signs, never drive on the shoulder of the road. Passing. On a road with two lanes traveling in the same direction, the left-hand lane is intended to be used for passing slower vehicles. On roads with more than two lanes traveling in the same direction, use the right lane for slower speeds, the middle lanes for higher speeds, and the left-hand lane for passing only. If you pass on the right, the other driver may have difficulty seeing you and might suddenly change lanes in front of you. Never pass on the shoulder, whether it is paved or not. Other drivers will never expect to see you there and may pull off the road without looking. On limited access roadways of 3 or more lanes in one direction, vehicles towing a trailer or vehicles over 10,000 pounds may not use the left-hand lane unless otherwise posted. However, this does not prevent these vehicles from using the HOV lanes. Driving on ocean beaches. Driving is allowed on ocean beaches in Grays Harbor and Pacific counties. The beach is considered a state highway, so all road, vehicle registration, and driver licensing regulations apply. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour, and pedestrians have the right of way at all times. You may only enter the beach with your vehicle through marked beach approaches, and you may only drive on hard-packed sand. Watch for beach closure signs and signs that occasionally prohibit beach driving. Waiting for a ferry. While waiting to board a Washington State ferry, except the Keller Ferry, you cannot block a residential driveway and you cannot move in front of another vehicle already in a queue waiting to board unless a ferry employee directs you. Turning. Turn from the lane that is closest to the direction you want to go and turn into the lane closest to the one you came from. When making turns, go from one lane to the other as directly as possible without crossing lane lines or interfering with traffic. Once you have completed your turn, you can change to another lane if you need to. Right turns. On right turns, avoid moving wide to the left before going into the turn. If you swing wide, the driver behind you may think that you are changing lanes or turning left and may try to pass you on the right. If you swing wide as you complete the turn, drivers who are in the far lane will not expect to see you there. Left turns. When making a left turn, avoid starting the turn so soon that you are turning on the wrong side of the street. However, be sure to leave room for oncoming vehicles to turn left in front of you. Multiple lanes turning. If there are signs or lane markings that allow for 2 or more turning lanes, stay in your lane during the turn. U-turns. You should only make a U-turn when it is safe. U-turns should not be made on any curve or when approaching the crest of a hill when your vehicle cannot be seen by others. Some towns and cities do not allow U-turns. Check with local police to be sure. Neighborhood electric vehicles, or NEV, medium-speed electric vehicles, MEV, and motorized foot scooters, MFS. Both NEV and MEV are electrically powered four-wheeled vehicles that can be driven on roads posted 35 miles per hour or less. An NEV can reach speeds of 20 to 25 miles per hour. An MEV can reach speeds of 30 to 35 miles per hour and is equipped with a roll cage or a crush-proof body design. To drive these, you must have a vehicle registration and plates, a valid driver license, liability insurance, use of seat belts, child restraints, and other safety equipment. A MFS must have handlebars, 2 10-inch or smaller wheels, and a gas or electric motor. No insurance and vehicle or driver license is required, but it must have state patrol-approved reflectors to be driven at night. No endorsement. If you operate any vehicle without having the required endorsement, the vehicle may be impounded. Right of way. There will be many times when you will need to slow down or stop your vehicle to allow another vehicle, pedestrian, or bicyclist to continue safely. Even if there are no signs or signals to regulate the traffic, there are laws governing who must yield the right of way. The law says who must yield the right of way. It does not give anyone the right of way. You must do everything you can to prevent striking a pedestrian on foot or in a wheelchair or another vehicle, regardless of the circumstances. For their own safety, pedestrians should walk towards oncoming traffic and off the roadway. You should be ready to yield to pedestrians in case they step into your path. A pedestrian crossing a roadway at any point other than in a marked crosswalk or within an unmarked crosswalk at an intersection must yield the right of way to all vehicles on the roadway. The following right of way rules apply at intersections. Pedestrians and bicyclists have the right of way at crosswalks and intersections whether the crosswalk is marked or not. Drivers must yield where necessary to avoid striking pedestrians and bicyclists who are crossing the road. Vehicles must stop if a pedestrian or bicyclist is in their half of the roadway. Vehicles must stop if a pedestrian or bicyclist is within one lane of their half of the roadway. Once the pedestrian or bicyclist is beyond one lane of their half of the roadway, the vehicles may go. Drivers crossing a sidewalk while entering or exiting a driveway, alley, or parking lot must stop and yield to pedestrians. It is illegal to drive on a sidewalk except to cross it. Pedestrians using a guide dog or other service animal or carrying a white cane have absolute right of way. It is unlawful to interfere with or distract a service animal. Do not use your horn, as it could confuse or frighten the pedestrian or the service animal. Drivers turning left must yield to oncoming vehicles and pedestrians and bicyclists. Drivers entering a roundabout must yield to drivers already in the circle. At an intersection where there is no stop sign, yield sign, or traffic signal, drivers must yield to vehicles in the intersection and to those coming from the right. At a four-way stop, the driver reaching the intersection first goes first, after coming to a complete stop. If more than one vehicle arrives at the same time, the vehicle on the right goes first. Drivers entering a road from a driveway, alley, parking lot, or roadside must yield to vehicles already on the main road. Drivers must not enter an intersection unless they can get through it without having to stop. You should wait until traffic ahead clears so you are not blocking the intersection. Drivers passing a vehicle going in the same direction must be ready to yield in case the other driver suddenly turns, slows down, or stops. You must yield the right of way to trains crossing the roadway. You must yield the right of way to a police vehicle, fire engine, ambulance, or other emergency vehicle using a siren, air horn, or a red and blue flashing light. Pull over to the right edge of the road or as near to the right as possible, and stop when you see or hear an emergency vehicle approaching from any direction. If you are in an intersection, drive through the intersection before you pull over. If the light is red, stay where you are. Follow any instructions given over the emergency vehicle's loudspeaker. You must stop for a school bus that is stopped with its red lights flashing, whether it is on your side of the road, the opposite side of the road, or at an intersection you are approaching. You are not required to stop for a school bus with red lights flashing when the stopped school bus is traveling in the opposite direction and the roadway has 3 or more marked traffic lanes, is separated by a median, or is separated by a physical barrier. After the school bus red lights have stopped flashing, watch for children along the side of the road and do not proceed until they have completely left the roadway. You must yield to any transit vehicle, bus, that has signaled and is pulling back onto the roadway. Parking. Drivers are responsible for making sure their vehicle is not a hazard when it is parked. Whenever you park, be sure it is in a place that is far enough from any travel lane to avoid interfering with traffic and visible to vehicles approaching from either direction. Always park in a designated area if possible. Always set your parking brake when you park. Leave the vehicle in gear if it has a manual transmission, or in park if it has an automatic transmission. Check traffic before you open the door. Get out of the vehicle on the curbside if you can. If you have to use the street side, check traffic before you get out. Shut the door as soon as you can after getting out. Never leave the ignition key in a parked vehicle. It is a good habit to lock the doors whenever you leave your vehicle. It is against the law to leave children under 16 years of age alone in a parked car with the engine running. If you must park on a roadway, park your vehicle as far from traffic as possible. If there is a curb, park as close to it as you can. Parking on a hill. When you park on a hill with a curb and are facing uphill, set your parking brake and turn your steering wheel away from the curb. This way, if your vehicle starts to roll, it will roll into the curb. Facing downhill, set your parking brake and turn your steering wheel towards the curb. And there is no curb. Set your parking brake and turn your steering wheel towards the edge of the road. This way, if your vehicle starts to roll, it will roll away from traffic. Parallel parking. When you parallel park, park within 12 inches of the curb. Here are the steps to parallel parking. Stop even with the car ahead. Turn the wheel sharp right and back slowly towards the car behind. When clear of the car ahead, turn the wheel sharp left and back slowly to the car behind. Turn the wheel sharp right and pull towards the curb in the center of the parking space. No parking zones. There are many areas where you cannot park. Check for signs that may prohibit or limit parking. Some parking restrictions are indicated by colored curb markings. Do not park in an intersection, on a crosswalk or sidewalk, in a construction area if your vehicle will block traffic, within 30 feet of a traffic signal, stop sign, or yield sign, within 20 feet of a pedestrian safety zone, within 15 feet of a fire hydrant, within 50 feet of a railroad crossing, more than 12 inches from the curb, within 20 feet of a fire station driveway on the same side of the street, or within 75 feet of the fire station driveway on the other side of the street. Within 5 feet of a driveway, alley, private road, or area of the curb removed or lowered for access to the sidewalk. On a bridge or overpass, or in a tunnel or underpass. On the wrong side of the street. In a space marked for the disabled unless you have a disabled license plate or placard. On the roadside of a parked vehicle, double parking. On railroad tracks. On the shoulder of the freeway unless you have an emergency. Wherever there is a sign that says you cannot park. Other parking restrictions may be indicated by signs or curbs painted. White indicates that only short stops are permitted. Yellow or red indicates a loading zone or some other restriction. Safe driving tips. No driver manual can teach you how to operate a vehicle or be a safe driver. Driving requires skills you can only gain through instruction and practice. The following offers some basic driving information. Starting. Check the vehicle owner's manual to determine the best way to start the vehicle. Make sure the parking brake is on before you start the vehicle. If the vehicle has a manual transmission, it must not be in gear, and in some vehicles the clutch must be depressed. For a vehicle that has an automatic transmission, you must put the shift selector in park. Accelerating. Accelerate gradually and smoothly. Trying to start too fast can cause your wheels to spin, particularly on slippery surfaces, and cause the vehicle to slide. With a manual shift vehicle, practice using the clutch and accelerator so the engine does not over-rev or stall when shifting gears. Steering. Your hands should be placed on opposite sides of the steering wheel, left hand between 8 and 9 o'clock, and right hand between 3 and 4 o'clock. This position is comfortable, and on high-speed roads, it allows you to make turns without taking your hands off the wheel. It also positions your hands out of the way of the airbag. Leaning against the door, putting your elbow out the window, or driving with one hand can keep you from reacting quickly in an emergency. Look well down the road and on both sides of the road, not just at the road in front of your vehicle. Look for traffic situations where you will need to steer before you get to them. This way, you have time to steer smoothly and safely. When turning sharp corners, turn the steering wheel using the hand-over-hand method. When you complete a turn, straighten out the steering wheel by hand. Letting it slip through your fingers could be dangerous. Speeding and speed limits. The best way to avoid speeding is to know how fast you are going. Check the speedometer often. People are not very good at judging how fast they are going. It is easy to be traveling much faster than you think. This is especially true when you leave high-speed roads and are driving on much slower local roads. Obey speed limit signs. They are there for your safety. Speed limits, unless otherwise posted, are 20 miles per hour in school zones, 25 miles per hour on streets of cities and towns, 50 miles per hour on county roads, 60 miles per hour on state highways. Parts of the interstate highways may be posted with higher maximum speeds. Stopping. Be alert so that you know well ahead of time when you will have to stop. Stopping suddenly is dangerous and usually points to a driver who is not paying attention. When you brake quickly, you could skid and lose control of your vehicle. You also make it harder for drivers behind you to stop without hitting you. Try to avoid panic stops by seeing events well in advance. By slowing down or changing lanes, you may not have to stop at all, and if you do, you can make a more gradual and safer stop. Seeing well. Most of what you do in driving depends on what you see. To be a good driver, you need to see well. You must not drive with more than 3 people in the front seat if it blocks your view or interferes with your control of the vehicle. The biggest single contributor to collisions is failing to see what is happening. You must look down the road, to the sides, and behind your vehicle and be alert for unexpected events. At night and at other times when it's hard to see, you must use your headlights. You must be alert to what is going on around you. Many collisions occur because drivers do not pay enough attention to their driving. Do not take your eyes off the road for more than a few seconds at any one time. If you need to look at a map, pull safely off the road before you try to look at it. Do not try to read the map while you are driving. In many collisions with motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians, drivers reported that they were looking but did not see them. Driver distractions. You cannot use an electronic wireless communications device to send, read, or write a text message while operating a motor vehicle unless you are reporting illegal activity, summoning medical or other emergency help, preventing injury to a person or property, operating an authorized emergency vehicle, relaying information between a transit or for-hire operator and that operator's dispatcher using a device permanently affixed to the vehicle, doing so using a global positioning or navigation system permanently affixed to the vehicle. Effective July 1st, 2008, you cannot hold a wireless communications device to your ear while operating a motor vehicle unless you are reporting illegal activity, summoning medical or other emergency help, preventing injury to a person or property, operating an authorized emergency vehicle, operating a tow truck responding to a disabled vehicle, operating an amateur radio station under a Federal Communications Commission license, using a hearing aid. Avoid using an electronic wireless communications device, even in hands-free mode, while you operate a vehicle that is in motion. Talking on a cellular phone or radio can distract you from driving. Do not drive with head or earphones that cover or go in your ears. These are illegal in Washington and many other states and make it hard to hear emergency horns or sirens. This law does not apply to motorcyclists wearing a helmet with built-in headsets or earphones or to hands-free cellular phone systems. Do not slow down just to look at a crash, someone getting a ticket, or other roadside activity. This could cause you to be in a collision. If you take your eyes off the road to look at something, you could run into a vehicle ahead that has slowed or stopped. This can also increase congestion. When you pass these roadside activities, keep your eyes on the road and get past them as soon and as safely as you can. Scanning. To be a good driver, you must know what is happening around your vehicle. You must look ahead, to the sides, and behind the vehicle. Scanning helps you to see problems ahead, vehicles and people that may be in the road by the time you reach them, signs warning of problems ahead, and signs giving you directions. Look ahead. In order to avoid last-minute braking or the need to turn, you should look well down the road. By looking well ahead and being ready to stop or change lanes if needed, you can drive more safely, save on fuel, keep traffic moving at a steady pace, and allow yourself time to see better around your vehicle and along the side of the road. This will also help you to steer straight with less weaving. Safer drivers tend to look at least 10 seconds ahead of their vehicle. How far is this? It is the distance that your vehicle will travel in 10 seconds. In the city, 10 seconds is about 1 block. When you drive in city traffic, you should try to look at least 1 block ahead. On the highway, 10 seconds is about 4 city blocks, or a quarter of a mile. How do you know how many seconds you are looking ahead? Here is how to figure out how far ahead you are looking. 1. Find a non-moving object like a sign or telephone pole near the road about as far ahead as you are looking. 2. Start counting 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, etc. until you reach the object. 3. The number of seconds you have counted is the number of seconds ahead that you were looking. You can be a safer driver by looking well ahead. You can avoid the need to stop or turn quickly. The less you have to stop or turn quickly, the less likely you are to run into somebody or have someone run into you. By looking well ahead, you can save on fuel. Every time you have to stop quickly, it takes time and fuel to get your vehicle back up to speed. Drivers who look ahead can slow down gradually or change lanes and avoid unnecessary braking that leads to lower miles per gallon. Traffic would flow more smoothly if everyone looked well ahead. Making driving changes before the last moment gives drivers behind you more time to react. The earlier you act, the less often someone behind you has to react quickly to your vehicle. By seeing needed driving changes early, you can drive more safely and help drivers behind you drive more safely too. Look to the sides. As other vehicles, pedestrians, or bicyclists may cross or enter your path any time, look to the sides to make sure no one is coming. This is especially true at intersections and railroad crossings. Intersections. Intersections are any place where traffic merges or crosses. They include cross streets, side streets, driveways, and shopping center or parking lot entrances. Before you enter an intersection, look to the left and right for vehicles, pedestrians, or bicyclists. If stopped, look to the left and right before you start moving. Look across the intersection before you start to move to make sure the path is clear all the way through the intersection and you will not block it if you have to stop. Before you turn left across oncoming traffic, turn on your left turn signal at least 100 feet ahead and look for a safe gap in the traffic. Check the street you are turning into to make sure that no vehicles, pedestrians, or bicyclists are in your path. Look one more time in the direction of oncoming traffic before you turn. Before turning right, turn on your right turn signal at least 100 feet ahead and make sure that there is no traffic approaching from your left and no oncoming traffic turning left into your path. Do not begin your turn without checking for pedestrians crossing where you will be turning. After stopping, you may turn right on red unless prohibited. You may also turn left from a one-way or two-way street onto a one-way street unless prohibited. Do not rely on traffic signals or signs to tell you that no one will be crossing in front of you. Some drivers do not obey traffic signals or signs. At an intersection, look left and right even if other traffic has a red light or a stop sign. This is especially important just after the light has turned green. This is when people on the cross street are most likely to hurry through the intersection before the light changes to red. Others who may not stop are individuals who may be driving under the influence or other reckless drivers. Make sure you can clearly see crossing traffic before entering an intersection. If you were stopped and your view of a cross street is blocked, edge forward slowly until you can see. By moving forward slowly, crossing drivers can see the front of your vehicle before you can see them. This gives them the chance to slow down and warn you if needed. Whenever there is a lot of activity along the side of the road, there is a good chance that someone will cross or enter the road. Therefore, it is very important to look to the sides when you are near shopping centers, parking lots, construction areas, busy sidewalks, playgrounds, and schoolyards. Railroad crossings. As you approach a railroad crossing, slow down and look up and down the tracks to make sure a train is not coming. If you are not sure it is safe to cross the tracks, turn your radio down or off. Stop talking, put the window down, and look and listen for a train. Never start to cross until the traffic clears ahead. Wait until there is room on the far side so you will not have to stop on the tracks. At crossings with more than one track, wait until the passing train is well down the track before starting to cross. Another train may be hidden by the one that just passed. Look behind. Besides watching traffic ahead of you, check traffic behind you. You need to check more often when traffic is heavy. This is the only way you will know if someone is following too closely or coming up too fast, and it will give you time to do something about it. It is very important to look for vehicles behind you when you change lanes, slow down, back up, or are driving down a long or steep hill. When changing lanes. Whenever you want to change lanes, you must check that there are no vehicles in the lane you want to enter. This means you must check for traffic to the side and behind your vehicle before you change lanes. Changing lanes includes changing from one lane to another, merging onto a roadway from an entrance ramp, and entering the roadway from the curb or shoulder. When changing lanes, you should turn on your turn signal in the direction you are moving, look in your rear view and side mirrors, make sure there are no vehicles in the lane you want to enter, make sure that nobody is about to pass you. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. Be sure no one is near the rear corners of your vehicle. These areas are called blind spots because you cannot see them through your mirrors. You must turn your head and look to see vehicles in your blind spot. Check quickly. Do not take your eyes off the road ahead for more than an instant. Traffic ahead of you could stop suddenly while you are checking traffic to the sides, rear, or over your shoulder. Also, use your mirrors to check traffic while you are preparing to change lanes, merge, or pull onto the roadway. This way you can keep an eye on vehicles ahead of you at the same time. Check over your shoulder just before you change lanes for traffic in your blind spot. Look several times if you need to, but not for too long a period at any one time. You must keep track of what traffic is doing in front of you and in the lane you are entering. Check the far lane. Be sure to check the far lane if there is one. Someone in that lane may be planning to move into the same lane you want to enter. Check for other road users. Remember that there are other road users such as motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians that are harder to see than cars and trucks. Be especially alert when you are entering the roadway from a curb or driveway. When you slow down, you must check behind your vehicle whenever you slow down. This is very important when you slow down quickly or at points where a following driver would not expect you to slow down, such as driveways or parking spaces. When you back up, it is hard for you to see behind your vehicle. Try to do as little backing as possible. In a shopping center, try to find a parking space you can drive through so you can drive forward when you leave. Where backing is necessary, here are some hints that will help you back your vehicle safely. Check behind your vehicle before you get in. Children or small objects cannot be seen from the driver's seat. Place your right arm on the back of the seat and turn around so you can look directly through the rear window. Do not depend on your rear view or side mirrors to help you see directly behind your vehicle. Back slowly. Your vehicle is much harder to steer while you are backing. You must stop before backing across a sidewalk or into a street. Look left and right and yield to any pedestrians or vehicles. Whenever possible, use a person outside the vehicle to help you back. When going down a long or steep hill, check your mirrors when you are going down hills or mountain roads. Vehicles often build up speed going down a steep grade. Be alert for large trucks and buses that may be going too fast. Use your lights. By law, your vehicle's headlights must be turned on from half an hour after sunset until half an hour before sunrise. Lights must also be on anytime conditions make it difficult to see people or other vehicles. Here are some things you can do that will help you see better. Use your high beams whenever there are no oncoming vehicles. High beams let you see twice as far as low beams. It is important to use high beams on unfamiliar roads, in construction areas, or where there may be people along the side of the road. Dim your high beams whenever you come within 500 feet of an oncoming vehicle. Use your low beams when following 300 feet or less behind another vehicle. Use the low beams in fog or when it is snowing or raining hard. Light from high beams will reflect back, causing glare and making it more difficult to see ahead. Some vehicles have fog lights that you should also use under these conditions. If a vehicle comes toward you with high beams on, look away from the headlights and toward the right side of the road until the car has passed. This will keep you from being blinded by the other vehicle's headlights and allow you to see enough of the edge of the road to stay on course. Do not try to get back at the other driver by keeping your bright lights on. If you do, both of you may be blinded. Letting others know you are there. Collisions often happen because one driver does not see another driver, or when one driver does something the other driver does not expect. It is important that drivers let other road users know they are there and what they plan to do. Some drivers do not always pay attention to what is going on around them. It is important that other road users know you are there. Use headlights. Besides helping you to see at night, headlights help other people see you. Turn on your headlights whenever you have trouble seeing others. On rainy, snowy, or foggy days, it is sometimes hard for other drivers to see your vehicle. In these conditions, headlights make your vehicle easier to see. Remember, if you turn on your wipers, turn on your headlights. Turn on your headlights when it begins to get dark. Even if you turn them on a little early, you will help other drivers see you. Whenever driving and lights are necessary, use your headlights. Parking lights are for parked vehicles only. When driving away from a rising or setting sun, turn on your headlights. Drivers coming towards you may have trouble seeing your vehicle. If you stop along the road at night, turn on your emergency flashers and leave your low beams on. Use your horn. People cannot see you unless they are looking your way. Your horn can get their attention. Use it whenever it will help prevent a collision. If there is no immediate danger, a light tap on the horn should be all you need. Give your horn a light tap when a person on foot or on a bike appears to be moving into your lane of travel, when you are passing a driver who starts to turn into your lane, when a driver is not paying attention or may have trouble seeing you, when coming to a place where you cannot see what is ahead, like a steep hill, a sharp curve, or exiting a narrow alley. If there is danger, do not be afraid to sound a sharp blast on your horn. Do this when a child or older person is about to walk, run, or ride into the street, when another vehicle is in danger of hitting you, when you have lost control of your vehicle and are moving towards someone. When not to use a horn. There are several occasions when you should not use your horn. They include encouraging someone to drive faster or get out of the way, letting other drivers know of an error, greeting a friend, around blind pedestrians, passing bicyclists, when approaching horses. Use emergency signals. If your vehicle breaks down on a highway, make sure that other drivers can see it. All too often, collisions occur because a driver did not see a stalled vehicle until it was too late to stop. If available, use your two-way radio or cellular phone to notify authorities that your vehicle, or someone else's, has broken down. Many roadways have signs that tell you the CB channel or telephone number to call in an emergency. If you are having vehicle trouble and have to stop, get your vehicle off the road and away from traffic, if at all possible. Turn on your emergency flashes to show you are having trouble. At night, leave your headlights on. Try to stop where other drivers have a clear view of your vehicle if you cannot get your vehicle off the roadway. Do not stop just over a hill or just around a curve. Try to warn other road users that your vehicle is there. Place emergency flares 200 to 300 feet behind the vehicle. This allows other drivers to change lanes if necessary. If you do not have emergency flares or other warning devices, stand by the side of the road where you are safe from traffic and wave traffic around your vehicle. Never stand in the roadway. Do not try to change a tire if it means you have to be in a traffic lane. Lift the hood or tie a white cloth to the antenna, side mirror, or door handle to signal an emergency. Stay out of the blind spot. Drive your vehicle where others can see you. Do not drive in another vehicle's blind spot. Avoid driving on either side of another vehicle and don't tailgate. You will be in the driver's blind spot. Either speed up or drop back so the other driver can see your vehicle more easily. When passing another vehicle, get through the other driver's blind spot as quickly as you can. The longer you stay there, the longer you are in danger of that vehicle turning into you. Never stay beside a large vehicle such as a truck or bus. These vehicles have large blind spots. Letting others know what you are doing. Generally, other drivers expect you to keep doing what you are doing. You must warn them when you are going to change direction or slow down. This will give them time to react if needed, or at least not be surprised by what you do. Signal when you change direction. Signaling gives other drivers time to react to your moves. Use your turn signals before you change lanes, turn right or left, merge into traffic, or park. Get into the habit of signaling every time you change direction. Signal even when you do not see anyone else around. It is easy to miss someone who needs to know what you are doing. Signal at least 100 feet before you make your move. If another vehicle is about to enter the street between you and where you plan to turn, wait until you have passed it to signal your turn. If you signal earlier, the other driver may think you plan to turn where they are, and they might pull into your path. After you have made a turn or lane change, make sure your turn signal is off. After small turns, the signals may not turn off by themselves. Turn it off if it has not clicked off by itself. If you don't, others might think you plan to turn again. Use hand signals when signal lights cannot be seen by other drivers. Signal when you slow down. Your brake lights let people know that you are slowing down. Always slow down as early as it is safe to do so. If you are going to stop or slow down at a place where another driver does not expect it, tap your brake pedal 3 or 4 times quickly to let those behind you know you are about to slow down. Signal when you slow down to turn off a roadway which does not have a separate turn or exit lanes. To park or turn just before an intersection. Following traffic expects you to continue to the intersection. To avoid something in the road, stopped traffic, or slowing vehicles that a driver behind you cannot see. Adjusting to road conditions. The faster your vehicle is going, the more distance it will take to turn, slow, or stop. For example, at 60 miles per hour, it may take you 3 times as far to stop as it takes to stop at 30 miles per hour. Driving safely means obeying speed limits and adjusting for road and traffic conditions. There are various road conditions where you must slow down to be safe. For example, you must slow down before a sharp curve, when the roadway is slippery, or when there is standing water on the road. The only contact your vehicle has with the road is through the tires. How good a grip the tires have with the road depends on the type and condition of the tires and the type and condition of the road surface. Many drivers do not pay enough attention to the condition of their tires or to the condition of the roadway. It is important that your tires be in good condition and have enough air. See the vehicle owner's manual for correct tire pressure. You do not have as much traction on gravel or dirt roads as you do on concrete or asphalt roads. When driving on gravel or dirt, you must slow down. It will take you much longer to stop, and it is much easier to skid when turning. Curves. A vehicle can travel much faster in a straight line than it can in a curve. It is easy to go too fast in a curve. If you go too fast, the tires will not be able to grip the road and the vehicle will skid. Always slow down before you enter a curve so you do not have to brake in the curve. Braking in a curve can cause the vehicle to skid. Slippery roads. Slow down at the first sign of rain, snow, or sleet. These all make the roadway slippery. When the road is slippery, the vehicle's tires do not grip as well as they do on a dry road. How slow should you go? On a wet road, you should reduce your speed about 10 miles per hour. On packed snow, you should cut your speed in half. Use snow tires or chains when the road has snow on it, and any time it is required on posted signs. On ice, you must slow to a crawl. It is very dangerous to drive on ice. If at all possible, do not drive when roads are icy. In Washington and some other states, studded tires are allowed during winter months. Tires that have retractable studs may be used year-round, but the studs may be engaged only between November 1st and April 1st. Must retract to below the wear bar of the tire when disengaged. Some road surfaces are slippery at certain times or places. Here are some clues to help you spot slippery roads. On cold, wet days, shady spots can be icy. These areas freeze first and dry out last. Overpasses and other types of bridges can have icy spots. The pavement on bridges can be icy even when other pavement is not. This is because bridges do not have earth underneath them to help insulate against the cold. When the temperature nears the freezing point, ice can become wet. This makes it more slippery than at temperatures well below freezing. If it starts to rain on a hot day, pavement can be very slippery for the first few minutes. Heat causes the oil in the asphalt to come to the surface. The road is more slippery until the oil is washed off. Water on the roadway. When it is raining or the road is wet, most tires have good traction up to about 35 miles per hour. However, as you go faster, your tires will start to ride up on the water like water skis. This is called hydroplaning. In a heavy rain, your tires can lose all traction with the road at about 50 miles per hour. Bald or badly worn tires will lose traction at much lower speeds. The best way to keep from hydroplaning is to slow down in the rain or when the road is wet. If it feels like your tires have lost traction with the surface of the road, you should ease your foot off the gas pedal. Keep the steering wheel straight. Only try to turn if it's an emergency. If you must turn, do it slowly or you will cause your vehicle to skid. Do not try to stop or turn until your tires are gripping the road again. Adjusting to traffic. Vehicles moving in the same direction at the same speed cannot hit one another. Collisions involving two or more vehicles often happen when drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Keep pace with traffic. If you are going faster than traffic, you will have to keep passing others. The vehicle you are passing may change lanes suddenly, or on a two-lane road, an oncoming vehicle may appear suddenly. Slow down and keep pace with other traffic. Going much slower than other vehicles can be just as hazardous as speeding. It tends to make vehicles bunch up behind you and causes the other traffic to pass you. Either drive faster or consider using another road with slower speeds. If you are driving a slow-moving vehicle on a two-lane road where it is unsafe to pass, and 5 or more vehicles are in a line behind you, you must pull over and stop when safe to let them pass. Entering into traffic. When you merge with traffic, signal and enter at the same speed that traffic is moving. High-speed roadways generally have ramps to give you time to build up your speed for merging into traffic. Do not drive to the end of the ramp and stop, or you will not have enough room to get up to the speed of traffic. Also, drivers behind you will not expect you to stop and you may be hit from the rear. If you have to wait for space to enter a roadway, slow down on the ramp so you have some room to speed up before you have to merge. Leaving traffic. Keep up with the speed of traffic as long as you are on the main road. If the road you are traveling has exit ramps, do not slow down until you move onto the exit ramp. When you turn from a high-speed, two-lane roadway, try not to slow down too early if you have traffic following you. Tap your brakes and reduce your speed quickly but safely. Slow-moving traffic. Some vehicles cannot travel very fast or have trouble keeping up with the speed of traffic. If you spot these vehicles early, you have time to change lanes or slow down safely. Slowing suddenly can cause a collision. Watch for large trucks and small underpowered cars on steep grades or entering traffic. They can lose speed on long or steep hills, and it takes longer for them to get up to speed when they enter traffic. Farm tractors, animal-drawn vehicles, and roadway maintenance vehicles usually go 25 miles per hour or less. These vehicles should have a slow-moving vehicle decal, an orange triangle, on the back. Trouble spots. Wherever people or traffic gather, room to maneuver is limited. Here are some of the places where you may need to slow down. Shopping centers, parking lots, and downtown areas. These are busy areas with vehicles and people stopping, starting, and moving in different directions. Rush hours. Rush hours often have heavy traffic and drivers that always seem to be in a hurry. Narrow bridges and tunnels. Vehicles approaching each other are closer together. Toll plazas. Vehicles are changing lanes and preparing to stop and then speeding up again when leaving the plaza. The number of lanes could change both before and after the plaza. Schools, playgrounds, and residential streets. These areas often have children present. Always be alert for children crossing the street or running or riding into the street without looking. Railroad crossings. You need to make sure there are no trains coming and there is room to cross. Some crossings are bumpy, so you need to slow down to safely cross. Work zones. Watch for warning signs, flaggers, and traffic. How well can you see? If something is in your path and you need to stop, you need to see it in time to be able to stop. It takes much longer and further to stop than many people think. If you have good tires and brakes and dry pavement, at 50 miles per hour, it can take about 400 feet to react to something you see and bring your vehicle to a stop. That is about the length of a city block. At 30 miles per hour, it can take about 200 feet to react and stop. That is almost half a city block in length. If you cannot see 400 feet ahead, it means you may not be driving safely at 50 miles per hour. If you cannot see 200 feet ahead, you might not be driving safely at 30 miles per hour. By the time you see an object in your path, it may be too late to stop without hitting it. Here are some things that limit how well you can see and hints you can follow to be a safer driver. Darkness. It is harder to see at night. You must be closer to an object to see it at night than during the day. You must be able to stop within the distance you can see ahead with your headlights. Your headlights will let you see about 400 feet ahead. You should drive at a speed that allows you to stop within this distance, or about 50 miles per hour. Rain, fog, or snow. In a very heavy rain, snowstorm, or thick fog, you may not be able to see much more than 200 feet ahead. When you cannot see any further than that, you cannot safely drive faster than 30 miles per hour. In a very heavy downpour, you may not be able to see well enough to drive. If this happens, pull off the road in a safe place and wait until it clears. Hills and curves. You may not know what is on the other side of a hill or just around a curve, even if you have driven the road many times. If a vehicle is stalled on the road just over the hill or around a curve, you must be able to stop. Whenever you come to a hill or curve where you cannot see over or around, adjust your speed so you can stop if necessary. Parked vehicles. Vehicles parked along the side of the road may block your view. People may be ready to get out of a vehicle or walk out from between parked vehicles. Give parked vehicles as much room as you can. Sight distance rule. Drive at a speed where you can always safely stop. To tell if you are driving too fast for conditions, use the 4-second sight distance rule. Pick out a stationary object as far ahead as you can clearly see, such as a sign or a telephone pole, and start counting. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. If you reach the object before you finish saying 4 1000, you need to slow down. You are going too fast for your sight distance. You should also use the 4-second sight distance rule at night to make sure you are not overdriving your headlights. Speed limits. You must comply with speed limits. They are based on the design of the road and the types of vehicles that use them. They take into account things you cannot see, such as side roads and driveways where people may pull out suddenly, and the amount of traffic that uses the road. Remember, speed limits are posted for ideal conditions. If the road is wet or icy, if you cannot see well, or if traffic is heavy, then you must slow down. Even if you are driving under the posted speed limit, you can get a ticket for driving too fast under these conditions. Sharing space. You must always share the road with others. The more distance you keep between yourself and everyone else, the more time you have to react in an emergency. This space is like a safety cushion. The more you have, the safer it can be. This section describes how to make sure you have enough space around you when you drive. Space ahead. Rear-end collisions are very common. If you follow too closely, you may not have enough time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. If you are driving at 30 miles per hour or less, a following time of 2 to 3 seconds may be enough to stop safely. However, at higher speeds, the best rule to use is the 4-second rule. Watch when the rear of the vehicle ahead passes a sign, pole, or any other stationary point. Count the seconds it takes you to reach the same spot. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. You are following too closely if you pass the mark before you finish counting. If so, drop back and then count again at another spot to check the new following distance. Repeat until you are following no closer than 4 seconds. There are situations where you need more space in front of your vehicle. In the following situations, you may need a longer following distance to be safe. On slippery roads. Because you need more distance to stop your vehicle on slippery roads, you must leave more space in front of you. If the vehicle ahead suddenly stops, you will need the extra distance to stop safely. When the driver behind you wants to pass, slow down to allow room in front of your vehicle. Slowing also will allow the pass to be completed sooner. When following motorcycles, if the motorcycle should fall, you need extra distance to avoid the rider. The chances of a fall are greatest on wet or icy roads, gravel roads, or metal surfaces such as bridges, gratings, or streetcar or railroad tracks. When following drivers who cannot see you, the drivers of trucks, buses, vans, or vehicles pulling campers or trailers may not be able to see you when you are directly behind them. They could stop suddenly without knowing you are there. Large vehicles also block your view of the road ahead. Falling back allows you more room to see ahead. When you have a heavy load or are pulling a trailer, the extra weight increases your stopping distance. When it is hard for you to see. When it is hard for you to see ahead because of darkness or bad weather, you need to increase your following distance. When being followed closely. If you are being followed closely, you should allow extra room. You will then be able to stop without being hit from behind. When following emergency vehicles. Police vehicles, ambulances, and fire trucks need more room to operate. Do not follow closer than 500 feet to a fire truck. When approaching railroad crossings. Leave extra room behind vehicles required to come to a stop at railroad crossings, including transit buses, school buses, or vehicles carrying hazardous materials. when stopped on a hill or incline. Leave extra space when stopped on a hill or incline. The vehicle ahead may roll back when it starts up. Space behind. To maintain a safe distance behind your vehicle, keep a steady speed and signal in advance of turning. Stopping to pick up or let off passengers. Try to find a safe space out of traffic to stop. Parallel parking. If you want to parallel park and there is traffic coming behind you, put on your turn signal, pull next to the space, and allow following vehicles to pass before you park. Driving slowly. When you have to drive so slowly that you slow down other vehicles, pull to the side of the road when safe to do so and let them pass. There are turnout areas on some 2-lane roads you can use. Other 2-lane roads sometimes have passing lanes. Being tailgated. If you are being followed too closely and there is a right lane, move over to the right. If there is no right lane, wait until the road ahead is clear, then reduce speed slowly. This will encourage the tailgater to drive around you. Never slow down quickly to discourage a tailgater. Doing that increases your risk of being hit from behind. Space to the side. You need space on both sides of your vehicle to have room to turn or change lanes. Avoid driving next to other vehicles, especially large trucks on multi-lane roads. Someone may crowd your lane or try to change lanes and pull into you. Move ahead or drop back of the other vehicle. Keep as much space as you can between yourself and oncoming vehicles. On a 2-lane road, this means not crowding the center line. Generally, it is safest to drive in the center of your lane. Make room for vehicles entering on a roadway that has 2 or more lanes. If there is no one next to you, move over a lane. Keep extra space between your vehicle and parked cars. Someone could step out from a parked vehicle or from between vehicles, or a parked vehicle could pull out. Use caution when approaching a stopped tow truck or roadside assistance, emergency, or police vehicle that is using flashing lights or sirens. On highways with at least 4 lanes, 2 of which are meant for traffic moving in one direction, change lanes or move away from the stopped vehicle if it is safe to do so. On highways with less than 4 lanes, slow down and pass to the left if it is safe to do so. Give extra space to pedestrians or bicyclists, especially children. They can move into your path quickly and without warning. Do not share a lane with a pedestrian or bicyclist. Wait until it is safe to pass in the adjoining lane. Split the difference between 2 hazards. For example, steer a middle course between oncoming and parked vehicles. However, if one is more dangerous than the other, leave a little more space on the dangerous side. For example, if the oncoming vehicle is a tractor-trailer, leave a little more room on the side that the truck will pass. When possible, take potential hazards one at a time. For example, if you are overtaking a bicycle and an oncoming vehicle is approaching, slow down and let the vehicle pass first so that you can give extra room to the bicycle rider. Space to merge. Anytime you want to merge with other traffic, you need a gap of about 4 seconds. If you move into the middle of a 4-second gap, both you and the vehicle behind you have a 2-second following distance. You need a 4-second gap whenever you change lanes, enter a roadway, or when your lane merges with another travel lane. Do not try to merge into a gap that is too small. A small gap can quickly become even smaller. Enter a gap that gives you enough space cushion to be safe. If you want to move over several lanes, take them one at a time. Like going up or down stairs one step at a time, it is safest and easiest to merge one lane at a time. When other traffic is trying to merge into your lane, Move to another lane to give them space when it is safe. Space to cross or enter. When you cross traffic, you need a large enough gap to get all the way across the road. When you enter traffic, you need enough space to first turn and then get up to speed. When you cross traffic, you need room to get all the way across. Stopping halfway across is only safe when there is a median divider large enough for your vehicle. Do not stop in a divider where part of your vehicle is sticking into traffic. If you are turning left, make sure there are no vehicles or pedestrians blocking your path. You do not want to be caught waiting for a path to clear while stuck across a lane that has vehicles coming toward you. Even if you have a green light, do not start across an intersection if there are vehicles blocking your way. If you are caught in the intersection when the light changes to red, you will block traffic. You can get a ticket for blocking an intersection. Never assume another driver will share space with you or give you space. For example, do not turn just because an approaching vehicle has a turn signal on. The driver may plan to turn after they pass your vehicle or may have forgotten to turn the signal off from a prior turn. This is particularly true of motorcycles because their signals often do not cancel by themselves. Wait until the other driver actually starts to turn and then proceed. When you cross railroad tracks, make sure you can cross without having to stop on the tracks. Space to pass. Whenever signs or road markings permit you to pass, you will have to judge whether you have enough room to pass safely. Do not count on having enough time to pass several vehicles at once. Be safe. As a general rule, only pass one vehicle at a time. Oncoming vehicles. At a speed of 55 miles per hour, you need about 10 seconds to pass another vehicle. That means you need a 10-second gap in oncoming traffic and sight distance to pass. You must judge whether you will have enough space to pass safely. When passing another vehicle on a 2-lane roadway, you must return to the right side of the roadway when there is enough room between you and the vehicle you have passed. At 55 miles per hour, you will travel over 800 feet in 10 seconds. So will an oncoming vehicle. That means you will need over 1,600 feet, or about 1/3 of a mile, to pass safely. It is hard to judge the speed of oncoming vehicles at this distance. They do not seem to be coming as fast as they really are. A vehicle that is far away generally appears to be standing still. In fact, if you can actually see that it is coming closer, it may be too close for you to pass. If you are in doubt, wait to pass until you are sure that there is enough space. Hills and curves. You have to be able to see at least 1/3 of a mile or about 10 seconds ahead. Anytime your view is blocked by a curve or hill, you should assume there is an oncoming vehicle just out of sight. Do not start to pass if you are within 1/3 of a mile of a hill or curve. Intersections. It is dangerous to pass where a vehicle is likely to enter or cross the road. Such places include intersections, railroad crossings, and shopping center entrances. While you are passing, your view of people, vehicles, or trains can be blocked by the vehicle you are passing. Also, drivers turning right into the approaching lane will not expect to find you approaching in their lane. They may not even look your way before turning. Large trucks, buses, and vehicles pulling trailers swing wide and sometimes must cross the center line to make turns. Do not crowd the intersection or attempt to pass these vehicles, especially on the right side. Lane restrictions. Before you pass, look ahead for road conditions and traffic that may cause other vehicles to move into your lane. You might lose your space for passing because of people or bicyclists near the road, a narrow bridge or other situation that causes reduced lane width, ice, a pothole, or something on the road. Space to return. Do not pass unless you have enough space to return to the driving lane. Do not count on other drivers to make room for you. Railroad grade crossing. Do not pass if there is a railroad grade crossing ahead. When you return to the driving lane, be sure to leave enough room between you and the vehicle you have passed. When you can see both headlights of the vehicle you just passed in your rear view mirror, it is safe to return to the driving lane. Space for bicyclists. The safety of bicycle riders on the road is a responsibility shared by both motorists and cyclists. All bicyclists have the same rights, duties, and responsibilities of a motor vehicle driver. Motorists and riders who don't obey traffic laws can be ticketed. Sharing the road with bicyclists. Over 39,000 bicyclists are killed or injured in the United States every year. If motorists and cyclists understand and obey the following state laws, it will help make the roads safer for everyone. Drivers must stop for bicyclists crossing in a painted or unpainted crosswalk when the bicyclist is within one lane of their half of the roadway. See diagram under right-of-way. Drivers crossing a sidewalk must yield to bicyclists on the sidewalk. Bicyclists riding on a sidewalk or in a crosswalk are granted all the rights and duties of a pedestrian. Local agencies may prohibit bicycling on some sections of sidewalks. Bicycle lanes are marked with solid white lines. You must yield to bicycles in a bicycle lane. Do not drive in a bicycle lane except when making a turn, entering or leaving an alley, private road, or driveway, or when you need to cross the bicycle lane to park near the curb. Do not park in a bicycle lane. At intersections, you must yield to bicycle riders, the same as you would for any other motorist. Allow at least 3 feet of space when overtaking or passing a bicycle. Pass to the left of a pedestrian or bicyclist that is on the right-hand shoulder or bicycle lane at a distance that will clearly avoid coming into contact with them. Do not return to the right side of the road until safely clear. Do not drive on the left side of the roadway when you see an approaching pedestrian or bicyclist if the width or condition of the roadway shoulder or bicycle lane makes it unsafe. If parked at a curb, look before you open any door in the path of a car, bicycle, or pedestrian. Bicyclists have the choice to ride on the roadway, on the shoulder of the road, in a bicycle lane, or on a sidewalk. Bicyclists must yield to pedestrians on sidewalks or in crosswalks. Use an audible signal to warn pedestrians before passing. Bicyclists may use the shoulders of freeways and other highways except where signs say it is illegal. Bicyclists ride with the flow of traffic and as near to the right side of the road as is safe. Riders may move left before and during turns, or when passing another bicycle or vehicle. Riders on a one-way road, other than a freeway, may ride as near to the left side of the road as is safe. Bicycle riders should use hand signals before turning. All bicyclists and any passengers must have their own seat. Bicyclists must not hold on to or be pulled by any other vehicle. Bicyclists may ride in groups on bicycle paths and lanes. On public roads, they may ride either single file or in pairs. Bicyclists cannot carry packages unless the rider can keep at least one hand on the handlebars at all times. When riding at night, the bicycle must have a white headlight visible for 500 feet and a red reflector visible for 600 feet to the rear. A flashing taillight or a steady red taillight may be used in addition to the red reflector. Every bicycle must be equipped with a brake that makes the wheels skid on dry, level, clean pavement. In addition to state law, the following safety tips will help motorists and cyclists prevent injuries and collisions. Teach your children. Parents are responsible for teaching their children about traffic and bicycle safety. Children cannot see things to the side as well as adults. They have trouble judging the speed and distance of moving cars, and they lack a sense of danger. Remind them often of how important it is always to look out for themselves. Look for bicyclists. Scan intersections before entering or turning and yield to bicycles when necessary. When changing lanes, making turns, or when backing, motorists need to check carefully for bicyclists out of their normal range of view. Make sure your bike is safe. Pedals, seat, handlebars, tires, and brakes should be in good condition and work properly. Bike shops can make sure your bike is safe. Obey all traffic laws. Traffic law violations cause most bicycle motorist collisions. By following the traffic laws, bicyclists help tell drivers where they are going and when. Drivers should take responsibility for knowing the laws that apply to bicyclists. Wear a bicycle helmet. CPSC, Snell, or ATSM approved helmets are recommended for all riders. Head injuries cause most bicycle-related deaths. Helmets can only do their job if they fit and are properly adjusted. If you can push your helmet off your head without unbuckling it, adjust it. Always get a new helmet if yours has been in a crash. Enhance your visibility. Wear light-colored or fluorescent clothing and accessories and apply reflective tape to your helmet and bike. Ride predictably and defensively. Avoid weaving in and out of the parking lane. Leave about 3 feet between yourself and parked cars so that an opened door will not block your path. Scan the road for hazards. Watch out for wet or icy surfaces, low light areas, slotted storm drains, potholes, and train tracks. Ride at speeds appropriate for conditions. Always yield to pedestrians and vehicle traffic before entering or crossing a roadway. Be responsible for yourself. When riding in a group, watch out for yourself instead of simply following the rider in front of you. Never ride against traffic. Motorists do not look for or expect bicyclists riding on the wrong side of the roadway. Ride in a straight line. Whenever possible, ride in a straight line and to the right of traffic, but about the width of a car door away from parked cars. Do not pass on the right. Do not pass on the right side of vehicles in traffic at intersections. Motorists turning right may not look for or see a bicycle passing on the right. Watch for cars pulling out. Even though you look a driver in the eye, the driver might not see you and may pull out in front of you. Turning. When turning left, a bicyclist can turn from the left lane or the left turn lane, or the driver may stay in the right lane, cross the street, and stop at the right corner. The driver may go with traffic or when the light turns green. The rider may go with traffic or when the light turns green. Scan the road behind you. Even if you use rear-view mirrors, learn to ride and look back over your shoulder without losing your balance or swerving left. Keep both hands ready to brake. To stop in time, you will need both hands. Allow extra distance for stopping in the rain or a wet road. Your brakes may not work properly when wet, and tires skid more easily. Watch for dogs. Dogs are attracted by the spinning of your wheels and feet. If a dog starts to chase you, ignore it, or using a firm, loud voice, yell, "No!" If the dog does not stop, get off your bike and put it between you and the dog. Space for special situations. There are certain drivers and other road users you should give extra room. Some are listed here. Those who cannot see you. Anyone who cannot see you may enter your path without knowing you are there. Those who could have trouble seeing you include Drivers at intersections or driveways whose view is blocked by trees, buildings, or other vehicles. Drivers backing into the roadway or backing into or out of parking spaces. Drivers whose windows are covered with snow or ice or are steamed up. Pedestrians with umbrellas in front of their faces or with their hats pulled down. Pedestrians who are walking in the same direction as traffic flow. Since they have their back to you, they cannot see you. People who are distracted. Even when others can see you, allow extra room and be extra cautious if you think they may be distracted. People who may be distracted include delivery persons, construction workers, children, drivers who are not paying attention to their driving. People who may be confused. People who are confused may cause an unsafe situation. These people may include tourists or others who do not seem to know where they are going, drivers slowing for what seems like no reason, drivers looking for street signs or house numbers, drivers in trouble. If another driver makes a mistake in passing you, do not make it worse. Slow down and let them return to the drive lane safely. If another driver needs to suddenly change lanes, slow down and let them merge. These actions will keep traffic moving smoothly and safely. Be in shape to drive. Driving safely is not always easy. In fact, it is one of the most complex things that people do. It is also one of the few things we do regularly that can injure or kill us. It is worth the effort to be a careful driver. Being a safe driver takes a great deal of skill and judgment. This task is even more difficult when you are just learning to drive. Driving can easily take every ability you have. If anything happens so you are not up to your ability, you may not be a safe driver. Your ability to be a safe driver depends on being able to see correctly, not being overly tired, not driving while on drugs or alcohol, being generally healthy, and being emotionally fit to drive. In other words, you are responsible for being in shape to drive safely. Vision. Good vision is a must for safe driving. You drive based on what you see. If you cannot see clearly, you will have trouble identifying traffic and road conditions, spotting potential trouble, or reacting in a timely manner. Vision is so important that the law requires that you pass a vision test before you get a driver license. This test measures that you have at least 20/40 vision in at least one eye, with or without corrective lenses. Other important aspects of vision are side vision. You need to see out of the corner of your eye. This lets you spot vehicles and other potential trouble on either side of you while you look ahead. Because you cannot focus on things to the side, you must also use your side mirrors and glance to the side if necessary. Judging distances and speeds. Even if you can see clearly, you still may not be able to judge distance or speed well. You are not alone. Many people have this problem. It takes practice to be able to judge both. It is especially important in knowing how far you are from other vehicles and judging safe gaps when merging and when passing on two-lane roads, or when judging the speed of a train before crossing tracks safely. Night vision. It is more difficult to see at night than in the daytime. Some drivers have problems with glare while driving at night, especially with the glare of oncoming headlights. If you have problems seeing at night, don't drive more than is necessary and be very careful when you do. Because seeing well is so important to safe driving, you should have your eyes checked every year or two by an eye specialist. You may never know you have poor vision unless your eyes are tested. If you need to wear glasses or contact lenses for driving, remember to always wear them when you drive, even if you are only going down to the corner. If your driver license says you must wear corrective lenses and you get stopped without them, you could get a ticket. Try to keep an extra pair of glasses in your vehicle. If your regular glasses are broken or lost, you can use the spare pair to drive safely. This can also be helpful if you do not wear glasses all the time because it is easy to misplace them. Avoid using dark glasses or tinted contact lenses at night, even if you think they help with glare. They will also cut down the light that you need to see clearly. Hearing. Hearing can be helpful to safe driving. The sound of horns, sirens, or screeching tires can warn you of danger. Hearing problems, like bad eyesight, can come on so slowly that you do not notice it. Drivers who know they are deaf or have hearing problems can adjust and be safe drivers. These drivers learn to rely more on their vision and tend to stay more alert. Studies have shown that the driving records of hearing-impaired drivers are just as good as those drivers with good hearing. Fatigue. You cannot drive as safely when you are tired as when you are rested. You do not see as well, nor are you as alert. It takes more time to make decisions, and you do not always make good decisions. You can be more irritable and can get upset more easily. When you are tired, you can fall asleep behind the wheel and crash, injuring or killing yourself or others. There are things you can do to help from getting tired on a long trip. Try to get a normal night's sleep before you leave. Do not leave on a trip if you are already tired. Plan your trips so that you can leave when you are rested. Do not take any medicine that can make you drowsy. Eat lightly. Do not eat a large meal before you leave. Some people get sleepy after they eat a big meal. Take breaks. Stop every hour or so when you need to. Walk around, get some fresh air, and get some coffee, juice, or soda. The few minutes spent on a rest break can save your life. Plan for plenty of time to complete your trip safely. Try not to drive late at night when you are normally asleep. Your body thinks it's time to go to sleep and will try to do so. Never drive if you are sleepy. It is better to stop and sleep for a few hours than to take a chance you can stay awake. If possible, switch driving tasks with another driver so you can sleep while they drive. Drinking alcohol and driving. Alcohol is involved in about 40% of the traffic collisions in which someone is killed. If you drink alcohol, even a little, your chances of being in a collision are much greater than if you did not drink any alcohol. No one can drink alcohol and drive safely, even if you have been driving for many years. Because drinking alcohol and driving is so dangerous, the penalties are very tough. People who drive after drinking alcohol risk heavy fines, higher insurance rates, loss of license, and even jail sentences. Why is drinking and driving so dangerous? Alcohol reduces all of the important skills you need to drive safely. Alcohol goes from your stomach into your blood and to all parts of your body. It reaches your brain in 20 to 40 minutes. Alcohol affects those areas of your brain that control judgment and skill. This is one reason why drinking alcohol is so dangerous. It affects your judgment. In a way, it's like alcohol puts good judgment on hold. You do not know when you have had too much to drink until it is too late. It is a little like sunburn. By the time you feel it, it is already too late. Alcohol slows your reflexes and reaction time, reduces your ability to see clearly, and makes you less alert. As the amount of alcohol in your body increases, your judgment worsens and your skills decrease. You will have trouble judging distances, speeds, and the movement of other vehicles. You will also have trouble controlling your vehicle. If you drink, when can you drive? The best advice is, if you drink alcohol, do not drive. Even one drink of alcohol can affect your driving. With 2 or more drinks in your bloodstream, you are impaired and could be arrested. A typical alcohol drink is 1.5 ounces of 80 proof liquor, 1 shot glass, straight or with a mixer. 12 ounces of beer, a regular size can, bottle, mug, or glass, or a 5-ounce glass of wine. Specialty drinks can have more alcohol in them and are about the same as having several normal drinks. It takes about 1 hour for your body to get rid of each drink. There is no way to sober up quickly. Coffee, fresh air, exercise, or cold showers will not help. Time is the only thing that will sober you up. There are ways of dealing with social drinking situations. Arrange to go with 2 or more persons and agree that one of you will not drink alcohol. You can take turns being a designated driver, use public transportation, or use a cab. Alcohol and the law. If you are arrested for drinking and driving, the penalties are severe. You can be arrested for driving with a blood alcohol content, BAC, of 0.08 or more. In Washington, if you are under 21, you also can be arrested for a BAC of 0.02 or more. BAC is the percentage of alcohol in your blood and is usually determined by a breath, blood, or urine test. You can also be arrested for driving under the influence, DUI, with BAC levels lower than these if you are driving and impaired due to alcohol or drugs. The implied consent law means that when you operate a motor vehicle, you have agreed to take a breath or blood test to determine the alcohol or drug content of your blood. If a police or traffic officer asks you to take a BAC test, you must do so. You will lose your driver license for at least 1 year if you refuse to take a BAC test. Some penalties for drinking and driving come just from being arrested. If it is your first arrest within 7 years and the breath or blood test result shows a BAC of 0.08 or more, 0.02 if you are under age 21, your license will be suspended for 90 days. You may be able to get a restricted license. You will only be allowed to operate vehicles equipped with an ignition interlock device. If it is your first arrest and you refuse to take a blood or breath test, your license will be revoked for 1 year. If you have been arrested more than once within the past 7 years, your license will be revoked for 2 years. If you are under 21, your license will be revoked for 1 year or until age 21, whichever is longer. In all of these cases, and before the penalties go into effect, you may request a hearing from us. Issuance of some restricted licenses will waive your right to a hearing. Alcohol-related offenses appear on your driving record for life. If you are found guilty in court of driving impaired and it is your first conviction, you may be fined up to $5,000 plus court costs and other penalties. You could also be sentenced from 1 to 365 days in jail, and your license could be suspended or revoked for 90 days to 1 year. Prior convictions of alcohol violations can result in other penalties, including 150 days of home detention and license suspension or revocation of up to 4 years. Other possible penalties include required proof of insurance, filing an SR-22, license reapplication, knowledge and skill testing, and a $150 reissue fee. Seizure and loss of your vehicle, and use of an ignition interlock device for up to 10 years. An additional 60 days will be required if you have a passenger under 16 at the time of arrest. Under the open container law, it is a traffic infraction to drink any alcoholic beverage in a motor vehicle upon a highway. For a person in a motor vehicle upon the highway to possess any receptacle containing an alcoholic beverage if the container has been opened or a seal broken or the contents partially removed. To incorrectly label the original container of an alcoholic beverage or place an alcoholic beverage in a container labeled as containing a non-alcoholic beverage, or to be in possession of such a container. For the registered vehicle or driver to keep an open container in a vehicle on a highway unless it is in an area not normally occupied by the driver or passengers. The container cannot be kept in any accessible storage compartment. There are certain exceptions which apply to the living quarters of motorhomes and campers. Probationary licenses. If you are convicted of driving or being in physical control of a vehicle while under the influence or are granted a deferred prosecution, a probationary license will be required for 5 years. In addition to the regular licensing fees, the probationary license cost is $50 at issuance and again at time of renewal. Deferred Prosecution. As of January 1st, 1999, a person is eligible for only one deferred prosecution of an alcohol-related offense in a lifetime. When charged with DUI, and if you suffer from alcoholism, drug addiction, or mental problems, you may be eligible for a deferred prosecution. If eligible, your DUI conviction is postponed while you complete an approved alcohol, drug, or mental health program. You also have to meet certain licensing and court-ordered requirements, which can include use of an ignition interlock, proof of liability insurance, and other requirements. When you have completed your treatment and have met all court-ordered requirements, the DUI charges are dismissed. Other drugs and driving. Besides alcohol, there are many other drugs that can affect a person's ability to drive safely. These drugs can have effects like those of alcohol, or even worse. This is true of many prescription drugs and even many of the drugs you can buy without a prescription. Drugs taken for headaches, colds, hay fever, or other allergies, or those to calm nerves, can make a person drowsy and affect their driving ability. Pep pills, uppers, and diet pills can make a driver feel more alert for a short time. Later, however, they can cause a person to be nervous, dizzy, unable to concentrate, and can affect your vision. Other prescription drugs can affect your reflexes, judgment, vision, and alertness in ways similar to alcohol. If you are arrested or convicted of driving under the influence of drugs, the penalties are the same as for any alcohol violation. If you are driving, check the label before you take a drug for warnings about its effect. If you are not sure it is safe to take the drug and drive, ask your doctor or pharmacist. Many drugs multiply the effects of alcohol or have other side effects. You should read the warnings with your medicine or talk to your pharmacist before you drink and use medicine at the same time. This combination not only affects your ability to be a safe driver, but could cause serious health problems, even death. Illegal drugs frequently affect your ability to be a safe driver. For example, studies have shown that people who use marijuana make more mistakes, have more trouble adjusting to glare, and get arrested for traffic violations more than other drivers. Juvenile alcohol, drugs, firearms violations. If you are age 13 through 17 and convicted of a first alcohol or firearm violation, or age 13 through 20 and convicted of a first drug violation, your driving privilege will be revoked for 1 year or until age 17, whichever is longer. For a second offense, your driving privilege will be revoked for 2 years or until age 18, whichever is longer. You will not be able to obtain a license, instruction permit, or take driver education during the revocation period. When you are eligible to reinstate your driving privilege, you must have parental consent and take the written and drive tests. You will also need to pay a $75 reissue fee in addition to the usual testing and licensing fees. Health. Many health problems can affect your driving. A bad cold, infection, or virus. Even little problems like a stiff neck, a cough, or a sore leg can affect your driving. If you are not feeling well and need to go somewhere, let someone else drive. Some conditions can be very dangerous. Epilepsy. As long as it is under medical control, epilepsy generally is not dangerous. In Washington, you may drive if you are under the care of a doctor and have been taking your medication and have not had a seizure for 6 months. Diabetes. Diabetics who take insulin should not drive when there is any chance of an insulin reaction, blackout, convulsion, or shock. Such a situation could result from skipping a meal or snack or from taking the wrong amount of insulin. It might be a good idea to have someone else drive for you during times when your doctor is adjusting your insulin dosage. If you have diabetes, you should have your eyes checked regularly for possible night blindness or other vision problems. Heart condition. People with heart disease, high blood pressure, or circulation problems, or those in danger of a blackout, fainting, or a heart attack should not get behind the wheel. If you are being treated by a doctor for a heart condition, ask if the condition could affect your driving ability. Emotions. Emotions can affect your ability to drive safely. You may not be able to drive well if you are overly worried, excited, afraid, angry, or depressed. If you are angry or excited, give yourself time to cool off. If necessary, take a short walk, but stay off the road until you have calmed down. If you are worried, depressed, or upset about something, try to keep your mind on your driving. Some find listening to the radio helps. If you are impatient, allow extra time for your trip. By leaving a few minutes early, instead of speeding to your destination, you will avoid a speeding ticket and reduce your chances of a collision. Road rage. Today, heavy traffic and tight schedules are the norm. Some drivers take their anger out on the roadways. When you see other drivers around you acting or reacting in anger, distance yourself from the situation physically and mentally. Don't make eye contact. Body movements and gestures can provoke an angry response from another driver. Slow down, move over, or do whatever you safely can to put yourself out of danger. Your courtesy may encourage the same from other drivers. If you feel you are being followed or harassed by another driver, seek help. Exit only in an area where there are other people and open businesses around you. If you have a cellular phone, use it to call the police. Emergencies. All drivers, sooner or later, will find themselves in an emergency situation. As careful as you are, there are situations that could cause a problem for you. If you are prepared, you may be able to prevent any serious outcomes. There is always a chance of a vehicle problem while driving. You should follow the recommended maintenance schedule listed in the vehicle owner's manual. Following these preventive measures greatly reduces the chance your vehicle will have a problem. Possible vehicle failures and what you can do if they happen are listed here. Brake failure. If your brakes stop working, pump the brake pedal several times. This will often build up enough brake pressure to allow you to stop. If that does not work, use the parking brake. Apply the parking brake slowly so you will not lock the rear wheels and cause a skid. Be ready to release the brake if the vehicle does start to skid. If that does not work, start shifting to lower gears and look for a safe place to slow to a stop. Make sure the vehicle is off the roadway. Do not drive the vehicle without brakes. Tire blowout. If a tire suddenly goes flat, hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the vehicle going straight. Slow down gradually. Take your foot off the gas pedal and use the brakes lightly. Do not stop on the road if at all possible. Pull off the road in a safe place. Power failure. If the engine stalls while you are driving, keep a strong grip on the steering wheel. Be aware that the steering wheel may be difficult to turn, but you can turn it with more effort. Pull off the roadway. The brakes will still work, but you may have to push very hard on the brake pedal. Headlight failure. If your headlights suddenly go out, try the headlight switch a few times. If that does not work, put on the emergency flashers, turn signals, or fog lights if you have them. Pull off the road as soon as possible. Gas pedal sticks. The motor keeps going faster and faster. Keep your eyes on the road. Quickly shift to neutral. Pull off the road when safe to do so. Turn off the engine. Avoiding collisions. When it looks like a collision may happen, many drivers panic and fail to act. There is usually something you can do to avoid the crash or reduce the impact of the crash. In avoiding a collision, drivers have 3 options: stop, turn, or speed up. Stopping quickly. Many newer vehicles have an anti-lock braking system, ABS. Be sure to read the vehicle owner's manual on how to use the ABS. The ABS system allows you to stop without skidding. With ABS, if you have an anti-lock braking system and you need to stop quickly, press on the brake pedal as hard as you can and keep pressing on it. You might feel the brake pedal pushing back when the ABS is working. Do not let up on the brake pedal. The ABS system will only work with the brake pedal pushed down. Without ABS, if you must stop quickly and you do not have an anti-lock braking system, you can cause the vehicle to skid if you brake too hard. Apply the brakes as hard as you can without locking them. If the brakes lock up, you will feel the vehicle start to skid. Quickly let up on the brake pedal. As soon as the vehicle stops skidding, push down on the brake pedal again. Keep doing this until the vehicle has stopped. Turning quickly. You should consider turning in order to avoid a collision. In most cases, you can turn the vehicle quicker than you can stop it. Make sure you have a good grip with both hands on the steering wheel. Once you have turned away or changed lanes, you must be ready to keep the vehicle under control. Some drivers steer away from one collision only to end up in another. Always steer in the direction you want the vehicle to go. With ABS. If you have ABS, you can turn your vehicle while braking without skidding. This is very helpful if you must turn and stop or slow down. Without ABS. If you do not have ABS, you must use a different procedure to turn quickly. You should step on the brake pedal, then let up and turn the steering wheel. Braking will slow the vehicle, put more weight on the front tires, and allow for a quicker turn. Do not lock up the front wheels while braking or turn so sharply that the vehicle wheels start to skid. Generally, it is better to run off the road than to collide head-on into another vehicle. Speeding up. Sometimes it is best or necessary to speed up to avoid a collision. This may happen when another vehicle is about to hit you from the side or from behind and there is room to the front of you to get out of danger. Be sure to slow down once the danger has passed. Dealing with skids. Any road that is safe under normal conditions can be dangerous when it is wet or has snow or ice on it. High speeds, under normal conditions, also increase the possibility of a skid if you turn or stop suddenly. Skids are caused when the tires can no longer grip the road. Because you cannot control a vehicle when it is skidding, it is best to avoid skidding in the first place. Skids are caused by drivers traveling too fast for conditions. If your vehicle begins to skid, stay off the brake. Until the vehicle slows, your brakes will not work and could cause you to skid more. Steer. Turn the steering wheel in the direction you want the vehicle to go. As soon as the vehicle begins to straighten out, turn the steering wheel back the other way. If you do not do so, your vehicle may swing around in the other direction and you could start a new skid. Continue to steer. Continue to correct your steering left and right until the vehicle is again moving down the road under your control. Protecting yourself in collisions. You may not always be able to avoid a collision. Try everything you can to keep from getting hit. If nothing works, try to lessen any injuries that could result from the collision. The most important thing you can do is use your lap and shoulder belts. Besides your seat belts, there are a couple of other things that could help prevent more serious injuries. Hit from the rear. If your vehicle is hit from the rear, your body will be thrown backwards. Press yourself against the back of your seat and put your head against the head restraint. Be ready to apply your brakes so you will not be pushed into another vehicle. Hit from the side. If your vehicle is hit from the side, your body will be thrown towards the side that is hit. Airbags will not help in this situation. Your lap and shoulder belts are needed to help keep you behind the wheel. Get ready to steer or brake to prevent your vehicle from hitting something else. Hit from the front. If your vehicle is about to be hit from the front, it is important to try and have a glancing blow rather than being struck head-on. This means that if a collision is going to happen, you should try to turn the vehicle. At worst, you hit with a glancing blow. You might miss it. If your vehicle has an airbag, it will inflate. It also will deflate following the crash, so be ready to prevent your vehicle from hitting something else. You must use your lap and shoulder belts to keep you behind the wheel and to protect you if your vehicle has a second collision. Collisions. Do not stop at a collision unless you are involved or if emergency help has not yet arrived. Keep your attention on your driving and keep moving, watching for people who might be in or near the road. Never drive to the scene of a collision, fire, or other disaster just to look. You may block the way for police, firefighters, ambulances, tow trucks, and other rescue vehicles. You must obey all lawful orders given by police, firefighters, and other persons authorized to direct traffic at the scene. It is against the law to drive over a fire hose. Doing this can damage the hose, injure firefighters, or hinder their efforts. No matter how good a driver you are, there may be a time when you are involved in a collision. If you are involved, you must stop. If involved in a collision with a parked vehicle, you must try to locate the owner. If any person is injured or killed, the police must be notified. It is a crime for you to leave a collision site where your vehicle was involved if there is an injury or death before the police have talked to you and obtained the information they need. You may want to carry a basic vehicle emergency kit. These kits have emergency flares, first aid supplies, and basic tools. At the collision scene. For all collisions that only damage a vehicle or other property, the driver must move the vehicle off the road, freeway, shoulder, or median to an exit ramp, shoulder, frontage road, cross street, or other suitable location as soon as it is possible to do so. For all other collisions, stop your vehicle at or near the collision site. If you can move your vehicle, get it off the road so that it does not block traffic or cause another collision. Do not stand or walk in traffic lanes. You could be struck by another vehicle. Turn off the ignition of wrecked vehicles. Do not smoke around wrecked vehicles. Fuel could have spilled, and fire is a real danger. If there are power lines down with wires in the road, do not go near them. Make sure that other traffic will not be involved in the collision. Use flares or other warning devices to alert traffic of the collision. If someone is injured, get help. Make sure the police and emergency medical or rescue squad have been called. If there is a fire, Tell the police when they are called. Do not move the injured unless they are in a burning vehicle or in other immediate danger of being hit by traffic. Moving a person can make their injuries worse. First, help anyone who is not already walking and talking. Check for breathing, then check for bleeding. If there is bleeding, apply pressure directly on the wound with your hand or with a cloth. Even severe bleeding can be stopped or slowed by putting pressure on the wound. Do not give injured persons anything to drink, not even water. To prevent an injured person from going into shock, cover them with a blanket or coat to keep them warm. Reporting the collision. Get the names and addresses of all people involved in the collision and any witnesses, including injured persons. Exchange information with other drivers involved in the crash, including name, address, driver license number, vehicle information, license plate, make, model, and year of vehicle, and insurance company and policy number if available. Record any damage to the vehicles involved in the collision. Provide information to the police or other emergency officials if requested. Should the collision involve a parked vehicle, try to find the owner. If you cannot, leave a note in a place where it can be seen with information on how the owner can reach you and the date and time of the collision. If the collision results in an injury, death, or property damage of $700 or more to one person's property and a report is not made by a law enforcement officer, you must report it to the Washington Department of Transportation on a collision report form within 4 days. To get a report form, go to www.wsdot.wa.gov/mapsdata/TDO or call 360-570-2355. Vehicle licensing. Registration. You must register your vehicle with us if you are a resident of Washington State and own and operate a vehicle on public roadways. If you are a new resident, you must register your vehicle within 30 days of becoming a resident. If you are a resident here and purchase a vehicle in another state with the intention of driving it on a Washington roadway, you must register your vehicle immediately. In parts of Clark, King, Pierce, Snohomish, and Spokane counties, most vehicles that are 5 to 25 years old must pass an emissions test every 2 years, even if the vehicle is certified in another state. Call 1-800-272-3780 or go to www.ecy.wa.gov to find out if you need an emissions test and where to go to get tested. What you need to bring. To title and register your vehicle, bring the following to a vehicle licensing office: the current certificate of ownership, title, and registration for your vehicle. If your title has been lost, you must apply for a duplicate from the state of issuance. If the title is issued by another state and the lien holder retains it, you must provide a copy of the current title to get a Washington registration. The personal identification of all registered owners. An odometer reading on a secure odometer form if your vehicle is less than 10 years old. Scale weight slip for trucks, trailers except travel, and propane-powered vehicles, if not shown on the previous title or registration. Cash, personal check, cashier's check, or money order for payment of licensing fees and taxes. When registering a vehicle or renewing vehicle tabs, all registered owners of the vehicle must present an unexpired driver license unless they are a Washington resident who does not operate a motor vehicle on public roads, have a driver license that is lost, stolen, confiscated, suspended, or revoked, are a licensee who is out of the area, state, or country, incarcerated, a divorcee who was not awarded the vehicle, deceased, are exempt from driver licensing requirements. This applies to anyone in the armed forces, any non-resident who is at least 16 with a valid driver license issued from their home state or country and is accompanied by a licensed driver with at least 5 years of driving experience, anyone operating special highway construction equipment, RCW.46.16A.030, a farm tractor, or a locomotive on rails. Certificate of Ownership, Title. We will issue a Certificate of Ownership, Title, for vehicles including mopeds, mobile homes, campers, trailers, certain electric vehicles, and off-road vehicles. Snowmobiles are not titled in Washington, but they are required to be registered annually. The title shows the registered and legal owners. Keep it in a safe place, but not in the vehicle. When ownership is transferred, the title must be signed and dated by all of the owners and then given to the purchaser. The purchaser must transfer ownership within 15 days to avoid penalty fees. If the vehicle is sold by a dealer, the transfer is the dealer's responsibility. Report of sale. When a vehicle is sold or traded to a private party or a dealer, the owner must report the sale within 5 days. The report of sale is the upper portion of newer certificates of ownership or is available at any Washington vehicle licensing office or on our website. You can take a report of sale to any Washington vehicle licensing office to file it immediately for a small service fee, or you can file it electronically at www.dol.wa.gov free of charge. File a properly completed report of sale within 5 days of selling, trading, gifting, or disposing of your vehicle in any way. This can help protect you from certain civil liabilities if the new owner does not transfer the title. Vehicle license plates. License plates must be displayed on both the front and rear of motor vehicles registered in Washington. License renewal month and year tabs are required only on rear plates. Disabled parking privileges. You may get temporary or permanent disabled parking privileges and an identification card if you have a disability that limits or impairs your ability to walk. To apply, both you and your physician must complete the Disabled Persons Parking Privileges application form, available at any vehicle or driver licensing office or on our website. Most vehicle licensing offices can process your application. Updates and additions. The following information is provided as a supplement to the Washington Driver Guide. New laws that may affect you. Cell phone use restrictions. For all drivers, a violation of the laws relating to use of cell phones or other wireless communication device while operating a moving motor vehicle may be enforced as a primary action. The holder of an instruction permit or an intermediate license may not use a cell phone or other wireless communication device while driving a motor vehicle. An exception is made if the wireless communication device is being used to report illegal activity, summon medical or other emergency help, or to prevent injury to a person or property. School and playground crosswalks. A vehicle driver who commits an infraction by failing to stop for a pedestrian or bicyclist within a crosswalk that is marked with school or playground speed zone signs receives twice the scheduled penalty for the infraction. Also, a driver in a school or playground speed zone receives twice the scheduled penalty if the driver commits an infraction by failing to exercise due care to avoid colliding with a pedestrian or failing to yield the right-of-way to a pedestrian or bicyclist on the sidewalk. Driver precautions for wheelchair users and power wheelchair users. Drivers must take all necessary precautions to avoid injury when approaching users of wheelchairs and power wheelchairs. Drivers who fail to take such precautions may be liable in damages for any injury caused to users of wheelchairs and power wheelchairs. Reporting to Child Protective Services. When a child under age 13 is present in the car of a parent, legal custodian, guardian, being arrested for a drug or alcohol-related driving offense, the arresting law enforcement officer must promptly notify Child Protective Services. Operating golf carts on public roads in approved zones. A person may operate a golf cart on public roads in approved golf cart zones if they are at least 16 years old and have either completed a driver education course or have previous experience driving as a licensed driver. No person who has a revoked license can operate a golf cart on public roads in golf cart zones. Golf cart zones must be identified by a sign. Golf carts operating in golf cart zones must have seatbelts, rearview mirrors, and reflectors. Operators must use the seatbelt. Electric vehicles. Persons operating a neighborhood electric vehicle, NEV, or a medium-speed electric vehicle, MEV, in San Juan County may operate such vehicles on city streets and county roads that are not state routes if the road has a speed limit of 45 miles per hour or less. The operator of such vehicles must not cross a roadway with a speed limit in excess of 45 miles per hour unless the crossing occurs at an intersection of approximately 90 degrees and may not cross an uncontrolled intersection with a roadway that is a part of the state highway system unless authorized by local authorities. Emergency zones. Emergency zones are defined as the adjacent lanes of the roadway 200 feet before and after a stationary emergency vehicle with a siren or flashing lights, tow truck using red lights, emergency assistance vehicle using warning lights, or police vehicle using emergency lights. The fines for traffic infractions issued for speeding in an emergency zone or improper passing of a designated stationary vehicle are doubled, and the driver license of a person who recklessly endangers a worker or property in an emergency zone is subject to a 60-day suspension. Driver distractions. Use of televisions in motor vehicles. The requirement is removed that equipment capable of receiving a television broadcast be located behind the driver's seat. Instead, no person is allowed to operate a motor vehicle with equipment capable of receiving a television broadcast when the moving images are visible to the driver while the motor vehicle is on a public road. An exemption is provided for live video of the motor vehicle backing up. The Knowledge and Drive Test. Driver training schools licensed by the Department of Licensing and school districts that offer a traffic safety education program under the supervision of the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction are authorized to administer driver licensing examinations. In addition, motorcycle training schools that are under contract with the Department of Licensing are authorized to administer the motorcycle endorsement examination. When this change is started, a public announcement will be made. Federal Selective Service System Registration. All male applicants for a driver license, instruction permit, intermediate license, and ID card who are under the age of 26 must be given the opportunity to register with the Selective Service System, SSS. An applicant who declines to register with the SSS may not be denied the requested document if they meet all of the other requirements to receive the requested document. Effective January 1st, 2012. This has been a reading of the Washington Driver Guide, read by Jising So. I hope that you've found this reading useful. Good luck and safe driving. This reading is current as of June 2012.